But overall, was a good event, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it was really cool in the beginning where everyone in the crowd was given an Edward Snowden mask. It was like an artist's rendering of his face in black and white. And they were asked to hold that mask up to their face as Edward came on to the video chat because he can't be there in person. And the smile that went across his face was really, beaming and awesome. And I thought that was my favorite part. I would have liked to have seen someone from New Hampshire, like maybe Garret or our own Mark Edge, do the interview. But that was more of a nitpick on the event. It overall was good, and the crowd seemed to be very pleased with it. Unfortunately, there was a controversy that started right from the very beginning of the event. Not openly, but it's the beginning of the event where the controversy struck. And that was when the new president of the Free State Project, who's a great guy, Matt Phillips, I'm glad that he's the new president, that he told the crowd, and I actually do have the exact quote here, and if you watch the video that's up right now over at freekeene.com, as posted by Garret Ian, if you watch that video, it happens within the first minute of the video. So about 30 seconds into the video, you can hear this quote for yourself. It is, quote, "Due to prior agreement, we are not doing any filming. So if you are not part of the official FSP video team, please turn off your cameras." And it was a weird thing because there were media already set up in the back of the room. And so the way it sounded was like there was some sort of prior agreement. And in fact, later on, one of the things that Matt Phillips has said about this, and there hasn't been much that's come out of the official Free State Project camp about this yet, but one of the few statements that has been made was that Edward Snowden had requested these recording restrictions.
Yes.
Which struck me as strange. And Garret Ian, one of the bloggers over at freekeene.com, I suppose that probably struck you as a strange thing as well. Welcome. You're on via Skype from Concord, New Hampshire tonight here on Free Talk Live.
Thank you. Yes, it was certainly very strange to receive such a sort of request at the beginning. My introduction to the idea that recordings or filming, as it was stated, would be banned was maybe 30 minutes before the event. I got there early. I wanted to get a good seat. I came to Liberty Forum to record the Edward Snowden presentation. Outside of the event, there was no announcement of no recording. I saw a man who seemed distraught and not happy, and he was putting away camera equipment. And he said, "They said that we're not going to be allowed to record because Edward Snowden needs to review there's only one video that'll be made, and Edward Snowden needs to review it." And I said, that seems strange. So it was my intention to actually talk to somebody about that before the event. And I did see Carla Gurecki talking with the media. And I just didn't have a chance to talk to her because she was occupied the whole time. Mm-hmm. So I went into the event expecting that maybe there would be some sort of ban on recording. What I was met with was the announcement that you stated Matt Phillips made. And if anyone wants to watch that video, it is a very vague announcement. He's seeming to indicate that an agreement that he made was to not film. I'd never made such an agreement. In fact, I'd say that the tickets were purchased with no agreement. I was given my ticket with no agreement. I entered the room with no agreement. And I don't consider those words to have been any sort of agreement either. But I guess some folks feel the opposite and feel that if somebody up before a room says something, like everyone in the room is obligated to begin trying to follow suit in the best way possible. But I'm an anarchist. I'm a journalist. I didn't feel I had any obligation to go out of my way to comply with deleting any sort of documentation of what I considered to be an historic event. So I wasn't going to go against the public interest that I saw there, which was documenting and transmitting the information that Edward Snowden was there to share with us.
So is there any way for somebody to sort of have a meeting and that meeting to be off the record if you're around? I mean, I guess that would be the sort of the other side of this question.
Sure. No, like I said, nobody asked me not to record.
Do they have to go around and ask every person in the room not to record?
Well, sometimes, let me interject here, when you go to an event, it's specified on the ticket that there's no recording allowed. It's specified in the brochure. It's specified on signage.
Can the terms of a situation change in an instant? I think they can. So, like, Snowden's lawyer could get on 1 minute before the event and say, "Hey, everybody, there's not going to be any recording here, or Ed's not coming on." Right?
They could try to do that, but just because the Free State Project has agreed to something doesn't mean that everyone in the room has agreed to it. And that's one of the things Garret is saying here. It was not crystal clear. And even with the statement at the beginning, it still wasn't clear that this was a requirement of attendance. Now, there are a bunch of people on Facebook today who are angry. They're calling Garret names. They're calling me names because I haven't pulled down his post from freekeene.com because I support my bloggers there being able to break news. And I understand that sometimes that rubs some people the wrong way. So we've been called all kinds of names here today on Facebook. But ultimately, the way that statement reads, and Matt wasn't reading a prepared statement. He was just kind of talking to the audience, so maybe that was a factor. But he says please, and please is a request. Every time please is used, it's a request. Please. He also said please, or, I don't know exactly what he said, but regarding the Edward Snowden masks, that was also a request. Should the people who did not hold up the Edward Snowden mask be ejected from the event? Should they be called names? Because they wanted to have everyone in the audience hold up these Edward Snowden signs because it's a cool thing, and it was a really great moment. But when you look at the picture that I think it was the union leader took of that, there's some guy 3 rows back who didn't hold the mask up, and his face pops right out. And it, kind of didn't ruin the picture, but it could have been better had he held the mask up, but he didn't. That was a request. It was not an order. Why was this an order but not a request?
Well, because doing something is different than not doing something. That's just sort of when you have ethical conversations, there's a difference between, the act of doing something. Requesting that somebody do something is different than requesting somebody not do something. So Garret
that's a stretch. He could have already been recording. Then you would have been asking someone to do something by turning off their camera.
He actually was recording because we got Matt Phillips saying
that is true.
Right.
Yeah, Matt Phillips saying that please don't record.
So if it's not a request, then make clear that it's not a request. This is a requirement of you being in this room, is that you not record, and put it in more than one location so people know. Had I walked into that room 30 seconds into the event, I would have had no idea because it was stated and the event began.
Yep.
And there was
I don't know if the door was open or not.
It was.
If they closed the door.
People could exit and leave. This isn't Cheshire County Court. You can't trap people unless you're the court. You can't trap people in a room. They might have to go to the bathroom. There might be a fire. That kind of.
I didn't notice too many people leaving.
The court only quote unquote traps people in during the opening and closing statements.
But they do, and that is arguably an unconstitutional, illegal thing that they do in Cheshire County.
But the way you said it, they trap people in, it makes it sound as though from the time court begins at 8 o'clock in the morning until they close at 4, that nobody can enter or leave the room.
Right. But it does happen, and that is keeping someone against their will, keeping someone out against their will, and you can leave, but you just can't come back in. In this case, you could come back in, as I understood it. So we'll continue. Garret, you're willing to stick with us here. Take any calls, because I know there are people out there who have concerns, have questions. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
The brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
BuySellMakeOffer.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com. You got it?
BuySellMakeOffer.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here for the continuing discussion about the issue of requesting someone not record. When someone says, please don't record, does that mean that you have to? Well, I say no. But
I would say it depends on the circumstance.
Okay. Well, in this case, Garrett, I decided to honor the request when I was in the room, but Garrett Ian decided to go ahead and record the situation with Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden, of course, is the whistleblower who revealed back in the summer of 2013 that the NSA had been doing all manner of spying, and there are people who want to put Edward Snowden in prison because he revealed some classified information. Turns out the classified information was, the proof that the government was lying to us, and, by the way, continued to lie after Snowden released the first bits of data that proved they were spying. Then they told lies to try to cover that they were spying, and then he proved that they were lying on those lies, and they just kept getting caught in lie after lie after lie.
So this is leaked video audio of the leaker speaking about his leaking. Is that right?
That's right. Garrett has been called the Free State Project whistleblower or the Liberty Forum whistleblower in this particular case, and we're going to bring him back in a moment. But I also want to let you know about a new book by David Hathaway. It's called Immigration, Individual versus National Borders, and it takes apart the arguments against open borders while still supporting the position that an individual property owner has the absolute right to exclude or invite anyone onto their property. Now, there are some libertarians or Austrian economists like Hoppe and Rothbard who have taken positions against open borders that some libertarians are now signing on with. And so that's what David Hathaway wrote the book for, was to rebut those arguments. You can get a copy of Immigration, Individual versus National Borders through Amazon and get it in either print or Kindle form. So if you want to shop through Amazon, just go to shop.freetalklive.com and look for David Hathaway's new book, Immigration, Individual versus National Borders.
It's Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Yep, and I'm Ian.
And I'm Darryl.
And so we're going to bring Garret Ian back on the line here. He's one of the bloggers at freeconcord.org, also freekeene.com, having recently transplanted himself back to Concord, New Hampshire. He joins us from there via Skype to better discuss and explain, rather than having a Facebook back and forth, which is what has been going on all day long. My Facebook feed has been blowing up with angry posts from people who are very insulting and very angry, and I understand. I mean, they feel like this has been – I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, so anyone who'd like to question Garret or me is certainly welcome to call in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And Garret, you've graciously given us an unlimited amount of time here tonight to have this conversation. But anyway, you released the video on your channel on YouTube. You then posted it on freekeene.com. And so the news media got a hold of it today. There are some mainstream news media articles that are being written. I don't know if either of them are out yet, but I know the Concord Monitor and the Union Leader called both of us today to have a comment. When I spoke to the Concord Monitor, they had said that they had not yet heard back from the Free State Project. And so I don't know if the Free State Project has yet made a public statement about this beyond the new president, Matt Phillips, saying that it was at Snowden's request. Now, the request was ostensibly that there be no recording. But wait a minute, there was a recording going on there. And so this is where things get even more murky for me. And I realize some people just want to focus on whether or not Garret disobeyed the request to record. But I think the outlying details are also important. So let me throw some of this data out, and you can see what you think. Get your response as well, Garret. 1, when I walked into this room, there were 4 or 5 cameras on tripods in the back.
Cameras everywhere
in the back of this room with no one I recognized at those cameras. This was mainstream media that was in the room. All of those cameras were pointed toward the front of the room. So it sure as hell looked to me like there was a media area for recording this event upon walking into the room. It did not appear as though, and I had no idea at this point there was going to be a restriction on recording. It did not appear that those people had any idea that there would be a restriction on recording. Why, if you were the news media, would you spend time setting up your video camera in the back of the room to capture something you had been told you weren't allowed to capture? That didn't make much sense to me. So you've got already existing media in the room. What was that all about? Further, if Snowden didn't want the video to be, or if he didn't want the conference or the discussion to be recorded, why would he consent to Reason.com being the exclusive distributor of the official video? It's my understanding, having heard, I believe, from the organizer of Liberty Forum, who claims she does not speak for the Free State Project, which is why I'm saying that the official Free State Project position has not yet come out. The organizer of the Liberty Forum made it sound like there was some sort of exclusive deal where the Free State Project's official video team, so none of the mainstream media, but the official video recorders of the event, were going to be recording the event and did record the event with the agreement that Reason.com, through Reason.tv presumably, would upload that event to their YouTube channel, but yet the Free State Project would still retain some sort of ownership or control over the video. And so why would Snowden want to restrict recording to only one group? Was there some sort of agreement where Reason was paying for an exclusive in that particular case? I find myself very curious to know why the restrictions. If you're going to restrict, why allow one person to, or one group to record? That I found confusing. Garret, did you sort of agree with that assessment, and was there more you wanted to add to sort of the setup, if you will?
Well, yes, the point you bring up is that there seem to be conflicting reasons for why there was this pseudo ban on recording. One of the reasons, the one I heard from the rumor mill from just that guy that was packing up his equipment and not happy about it, was that Snowden needed to vet the video, that something might be said that could be used against him. But the thing that didn't make sense there is that it was being streamed across the internet. It was on Google Hangouts. I mean, was there some sort of belief that this was an encrypted line?
No, and Snowden would be the first person to say that Google is in no way a safe way to communicate.
And we're talking about hundreds of people being in the room. The chances are that if the feds want to find out what's going on in this room,
they were there.
They had somebody in the room, and that somebody was recording, and they don't give a flying flip but a rolling donut whether or not the Free State Project said please don't don't record because they're the feds. So I disagree with that point. But you did know this. The point I would make on this one though is, Garrett, is like I'm sure you were sort of surreptitiously recording, right? Because otherwise it would have been seen that you were. You stopped video recording and switched to audio.
No, I didn't switch.
Okay.
There was no switch. If you notice if you watch the video I put out, the audio track from beginning to end is unadulterated. It's the device that was in my pocket the entire time.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay, I didn't really understand what happened. Okay.
Right. The little video segments that you use, if you'll notice, the audio that is from those video cameras is not used. Otherwise, there would be a...
See, I didn't look at it that closely. I presumed you'd switch to the camera feed later. So actually, you did honor the request then, because the actual...
I was filming at the time, and I stopped filming after the request was made, yes.
Right. They didn't say no audio was able to be recorded. They asked people to turn off their video cameras, and they only asked them to turn off their video cameras. They did not say it was a requirement. But go ahead, Garrett. Regarding actually, stand by. Hold that thought. We're going to continue here. This is, a lot of people are upset about this. Our phone lines are open, and considering all of the upset and the outrage on Facebook, I would have figured we'd had one person who wanted to challenge Garrett here. The toll-free number is
hundreds of posts.
855-450-FREE. Now, Darryl Perry, I think that you are not in agreement with Garrett from what I've heard you say off the air, so maybe you'll jump in. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE.
Are you looking to sell body armor? Want to make extra money selling body armor at your local gun shows? With low minimum buys and great returns, Keene Armor is the answer. Make money in your spare time. It's American-made body armor with the quickest turnaround in the industry, which means you get your product when you need it at very competitive rates. And they'll ship it to you for free. If you own a business, give them a call today at 855-488-KATIE. That's 855-488-2284. Or go to KatieArmor.com. Come and take it.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, but if you call that, you're not going to be able to talk to Garret Ian, so you do need to call the regular toll-free lines to get on the line here and discuss the issue of recording Edward Snowden without permission. But did Garret violate the request? Well, the actual text of the request made by the Free State Project was, due to prior agreement, we're not doing any filming. So if you're not part of the official FSP video team, please turn off your cameras. Well, Garret says he recorded the audio with an audio recording device.
Yeah, they didn't tell people to turn off their dictograph machines and reel-to-reel recorders either.
Okay, well, you got to be specific if you want people to understand what is being said to them. We'll get deeper into that here in a moment with Garret Ian actually on the line. He did release audio with accompanying still frames, and then later some video, but not with the same audio track from the original video. So what he did release was essentially recorded by an audio recording device that was concealed in his pocket during the Edward Snowden speech, or rather event over the weekend at the Liberty Forum. And again, we're going to get into that. You can certainly share your thoughts at 855-450-FREE. The internet was meant to be used anonymously, if you want, without oversight. But many governments and companies are thriving off the lack of privacy that you have on the internet today. Well, ProXPN can give you that privacy back. They're a virtual private network that encrypts your data right from your computer or mobile device. And ProXPN does offer OpenVPN, the gold standard of network encryption, with apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and Linux support as well. Plus, ProXPN keeps no logs of your activities whatsoever. And if you're a Windows user, you can ask ProXPN about changing your DNS settings for even greater anonymity. They accept credit card and even Bitcoin. If you use code FTL50, you can get 50% off the regular monthly price for the lifetime of an annual account. It can end up being cheaper per month than a good cup of coffee. Use the internet the way it was meant to be used. Go to proxpn.com now and use code FTL50 to take back the privacy that is your right. That's proxpn.com with code FTL50. It's Ian, Mark, and Darryl in the studio. On the line with us via Skype is Garret Ian, one of the bloggers from freeconcord.org and freekeene.com. He has stirred up controversy within the libertarian movement by recording the Edward Snowden interview over the weekend that happened at Liberty Forum. And it was really strange because they allowed one organization to record. They allowed Reason.com to have the official footage from the event. And there was a claim, not officially made by the FSP, but there's a rumor that it has been given to Edward Snowden's attorney to be vetted for some reason. And I guess what I don't understand about that claim, and certainly, Garret, you're welcome to comment here. What I don't understand about it is Edward Snowden knew he was talking to a room full of hundreds of people. If he said something he regretted in front of those hundreds of people, if something slipped out of his mouth that he shouldn't have said, that he shouldn't have revealed, that needed to be caught in some sort of vetting process, well, it's too late. You just told it to hundreds of people, many of whom had notepads on which they could have written it down, some of whom could have been surreptitiously recording, as Garret was doing. And further, the federal agent or two or three or however many there were that were undercover in the room most certainly heard whatever it was said. So what's the whole point of this vetting claim? It still just doesn't even make sense, the reasoning and the rationale behind these restrictions. But of course, many of the people who are opposed to what you did, Garret, would say none of that matters. What matters is you didn't do what you were asked to do, which was to turn off your recording device. Go ahead, Garret, with your thoughts.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that, and I'd say especially ironic that given the situation, Edward Snowden, as I said, I went there specifically to record him. And the reason is because I believe that he's taken a heroic action in favor of accountability. And we should have learned from him that we need to be documenting everything that we have, because everything is being documented by someone we don't know, by strangers. So that's one of the things that motivated me to be documenting that room, was that I knew that there were going to be strangers with negative intentions in there that were also recording. So I think it would be foolish for me to choose not to be making a record as well. And the idea that an organization that is actively promoting recording would decide that there's special cases in which we're going to decide that we're against recording
wasn't there a speech,
journalism and accountability.
Wasn't there a speech given by the Free State Project president at the time, Carla Garret, over the weekends called "Always Be Recording"? I believe that there was.
Yes, there was.
I don't know.
Yes,
there
it
was.
was called "Always Be Filming."
Yeah, always be filming.
Garrett, when
except when we say so.
Certainly.
So, Garrett, you say that Snowden's a hero of yours, and yep, same here. Do you think that there's a good chance that he knows your name, his lawyer knows your name at this point, and do they consider you to be somebody on their side?
Well, I can answer briefly. I did tweet at him today with the link. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, wow. I think it's ridiculous, actually, that this is even a story. I think it makes the organization that put it together look kind of bad that they tried to restrict recording. I think it makes the people that speak out against it look bad for trying to restrict the liberation of information. That is, and this is primary source information. I'm not being accused of misrepresenting anyone. I'm being accused of giving too accurate truth to the public.
Right. I mean, what's the difference whether
I think
someone sits there and writes things
It's a sad
down?
direction to see.
Sorry, I'm saying, what's the difference between someone who sits there and writes down as much as what was said as possible, and someone who's recording?
Being able to maintain trust is the difference.
Yeah, you can trust better when you get an actual recording as opposed to what someone writes down. That's why the FBI doesn't do any recordings of their interviews, because they want to write down whatever the hell they want to write down.
Oh, I'd argue
that's not what I mean by trust. What I mean by trust is, as a journalist, and Garrett, you call yourself a journalist. As a journalist, people should be able to trust you to where if they say this is off the record, that you're not going to then print what they immediately say after. Can I finish my thought? If somebody says this is off the record, they need to trust that what they say after that is not going to be reported. And if they say, don't record this, and you record it, then people pretty much know not to trust you, because everything they say or do around you is subject to being reported on. So it comes down to trust.
But that's different, Darryl, because they didn't say this was off the record, and it wasn't, in point of fact, off the record. I know what you're saying. Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com has encountered this in the past, where he's been removed from certain groups on Facebook because he had a habit of just reposting what was supposedly what people thought was private information. They were in like what was called a secret Facebook group, and Dave Ridley was one of the participants in the group, and he would repost or even make videos about some of the things that he'd seen in these groups. And so some of the people said, well, we just can't have this. We thought these conversations were privileged. We thought you understood that. And he said, well, he said basically, if I'm in the room, it's on the record unless you tell me otherwise. And so generally, if you are talking to a reporter and you don't want them to report on what you're saying to them, you do have to say to them, hey, this is off the record. And if they don't agree, if they say okay, then it's off the record. If they don't agree, then it's not off the record, and don't open your mouth at that point. But this was not off the record.
Staying in the room to some extent is acquiescence to that point. Silence.
No, this was a request to not record. This was not saying this was off the record, because it was on the record, given that it was being recorded.
Right,
and
by an official recorder.
Okay, do you understand how the Free State Project may want to retain some level of ownership over this and may want to benefit themselves over that?
Well, if that's true, then why are they saying that Snowden requested it?
Then Garrett, maybe they're lying to you, Ian.
Well, then let's find out for sure what the real truth is here.
Well, but okay, so it is their right to decide what to give out other reasons. Maybe there's some other reasons. I don't know.
Well,
maybe there's more than one reason. Sometimes life's like that, Ian.
If they're lying, then that's not very trustworthy, then is it?
Well, what difference does it make? You're allowed to lie about your own property. If I told you I have $10 in my pocket and I have 20, I don't care whether I've...
Garrett's not a robber threatening them with violence.
No, I'm not claiming he is. I'm claiming that silence is consent in this circumstance, and that he remained silent. He didn't say, excuse me, Matt, when you say that we can't record, does that mean audio or video? He didn't raise his hand and ask a question.
He didn't say you couldn't record. He said, please. Turn off your cameras. The toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE. Garret Ian's with us. We do have some calls for him. We're going to go to your phone calls and thoughts here as well. And he'll stick with us as long as the discussion goes on. This is hot and heated online right now. We're discussing it here. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
Think you're fat? You might just be bloated. Find out by calling now for a free trial of New Biotics, the new breakthrough that flattens bloated bellies fast. For a free trial, call 1-800-965-1170.
I used to be plagued by pot belly and constant bloating. After taking New Biotics, my belly flattened and continues to get flatter. My sense of bloating and discomfort is gone.
If you've got a big belly, you might not be fat. You might just be bloated. New Biotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. So just think how much better you'll look and feel. Think you might be bloated? Call now for a free trial of New Biotics and see how much flatter it makes your belly. You might be surprised. But hurry, call now for details while these free trials last. 1-800-965-1170. That's 1-800-965-1170. 1-800-965-1170.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Monday, gold is down $12 at $1,212 per ounce. Silver is down 18 cents at $15.20 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $437 US. With Bitcoin heading higher and gold and silver giving up recent gains, this might be a great time to swap Bitcoin for silver. Online at rrbi.co or give us a call at 800-874-9760.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Free Keene and Free Concord blogger Garret Ian is on the line with us here. We're going to continue the discussion with him, which there's some kind of interesting questions that come out of this, just beyond the initial discussion of, well, why was Edward Snowden wanting to restrict recording? What were the reasons for that in his interview that happened at the Liberty Forum over the weekend, which was a fine interview, and people seemed to enjoy it. It was well attended, maybe nearly as well, or if not as well attended, as the Ron Paul appearance during the 2008 Ron Paul campaign. It was a big event, and so why were there these restrictions? Should he have stopped recording when the Free State Project new president asked people to turn off their video cameras? Those are sort of the main questions, but I think when you really get down to the issues, there's some important discussions that need to be had here about property rights versus the right to free speech, the right to be the free press, and I want to get into those as well, sort of not really more esoteric, but more issues, I guess, digging deeper into these issues here in a moment. With you in studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
And Darryl.
And Garrett still with us in Concord, live via Skype. We're going to go to the phones here. Unless, Garrett, do you want to interject anything into previous discussion before we go to your callers?
I don't believe so. I mean, I believe there's been a good amount of discussion of the main facts of the case, that there was a lack of notice for this, that there were many people who were not happy about the fact that they couldn't record. And to be honest, I'm really surprised that I'm the only one that's put out their content so far. They're either anonymously or otherwise. There were some folks who had posted videos and then taken them down, and I included some of that in the video that I had edited together and posted with the raw audio I posted.
Well, let's go to the phones and the fun. Dante is in Ohio. You're on the line with Garret Ian. Go ahead, Dante.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to talk about Garret recording Edward Snowden's speech. Seems like there was a lot of confusion in that Facebook group where everybody was debating about it at. I think it's pretty clear that it was a private event. A lot of people were trying to say it's a public event, but there was paid entry, so it's clearly a private event.
I'd say it's private.
It was a private event, but open to anyone in the public who had $100 in their pocket.
Right. Yeah, private and public are not necessarily binaries.
Yeah, well, I mean, they could restrict anybody from walking in there, so I would consider that private based on if you pay or not. So the rules are pretty clear about what they wanted. They didn't want people recording. So I think Free State Project is within their right to not let you attend future events. But the question is, do we really want to be affiliated with an organization that restricts the press like that, just picking and choosing who's allowed to record the events, that kind of...
Well, I'll jump in here and defend the Free State Project for a moment. If it's true that it's Edward Snowden who requested these recording restrictions, which, that's what the claim has been, then you've got the Free State Project put into this difficult position of, well, on one hand, we have an event where we're advocating people record. There's a speech given by the president of the Free State Project who won a court settlement for recording police. The speech was always be filming. And then on the other hand, we're going to be telling people to not record one of the events. So they're kind of, if it was Edward Snowden who requested this, they were put into the position of having to either tell Edward Snowden, you know what, we don't want you, or we have to have these recording restrictions.
So Snowden's lawyer would have made an inappropriate, unenforceable request by saying, "Hey, why don't you make an announcement ahead of time to say that there's no recording in a room full of, I don't know, recording activists?" But if it's the Free State Project making the request because they want to sort of hold on to intellectual property, I think that's sort of a different case, because in one case the lawyer is putting the onus on someone else. They're making a statement without taking responsibility. In the other case, it's the Free State Project, at the very least, is responsible for the statement that they make.
Yeah, I agree.
Dante, thanks for your call tonight, man. I appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We go to Robert in Bellows Falls, Vermont. Robert, you're on with Garret Ian.
Hi, Garret. How you doing?
Wonderful. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah. Hey, a couple of things I just want to say. And that is that I think that between the old president from Free State Project and then the new one. I think that they probably should have spoken, clarified. Because I heard somebody there say that Colin Garret said that record, because you never know who's going to be around. But this other guy, this new guy, came in and saying that don't record him. No, don't record Edward Snowden. But I agree with Garret that what he did in terms of recording it, I think that was the right thing. But my question is, what kind of what consequences would this be for Edward Snowden? I mean, everybody thinks that he's a hero, and I certainly agree the same thing. But what kind of position do you think this is going to put him in? I mean, anybody can just go to Free Keene and listen to this, including the FBI, and it could be, to them it would be like a testimony that could be used against him in court. Should he ever be able to come back?
Garret?
That's an interesting point to be raised, because I kind of feel that, yes, the state could theoretically use anything you say against you at any time. But given the fact that he has already acknowledged what he's done, I don't believe they're charging him with any new crimes. I understand a lawyer would be concerned about if you say anything, maybe they'll pull more things out to go after you with. However, it seems to be the same exact argument that we hear the state using against Chelsea Manning and against Edward Snowden and folks like that, these whistleblowers, that by leaking information that is true and accurate, regardless of what's objectionable in it, we're supposed to not support the idea of leaking it because it may theoretically harm someone. And in this case, people are saying it may theoretically harm Snowden. First of all, as it was pointed out, this event was on the record. If he said something like objectionable or that was like caught and maybe like people were confused about, it would have been spoken about in the press, in the just written notes that the journalists were taking. There is nothing. No one's pointing to any particular thing that I recorded and is saying it's shocking. I did cut it to the length of exactly the speech itself. So. Yeah, I don't see any way that this could be anything in any way a threat to these people. I see it only as positive information to share with others.
And further, if it's Garrett's video is how the feds got their hands on any kind of data about what happened there, then they were not doing their job, and I'd be shocked if there weren't undercover federal agents in that room also recording that.
All I'm saying is just that it's just room for interpretation. There's Garrett's interpretation, and then there's, the Attorney General's office. There's their interpretation.
Well, the nice thing about a recording is it's not open to interpretation. It's not subjective. It's not based on the opinion of the author. It's, was the microphone pointing in the right direction? Can you hear what was being said? And as I understand it, there may be some parts of the video that might have been a little difficult to understand because of the nature of the fact the microphone was being concealed. Robert, thanks for your call tonight. But as far as the feds, I'm pretty sure they got that audio, whether it was from Garret or not. Go ahead, Darryl.
I want to read one sentence from the Journalistic Code of Ethics. Avoid undercover or surreptitious methods of gathering information, except when traditional open methods will not yield information vital to the public. Do you believe that you could not have obtained information in an open manner that was vital to the public that you surreptitiously recorded, Garret?
Could I have really worn out my arm taking very fast notes and not really have enjoyed the presentation or been looking at the screen? Yeah, I could have done that, and it would have been a sloppier product, it would have been a less reliable product, and it would have been something I would have been far less proud of. I'm glad that I can present a record that is somewhat objective, albeit muffled in my pocket. The only reason it wasn't crisper audio and video is because I was restricted from making crisper audio and video.
Right. If he had been openly recording, there was an enforcer in the room who would have probably noticed that. He had already checked on
probably
the
more
official
than one enforcer.
The official in he made a statement about this. He had checked on the official media in the back to ensure that they were not recording this. So if he'd seen Garret recording it, he would have been
So
stopped.
what you're saying is that Garret then knowingly recorded against the will of the Free State Project. None of this please, none of this. You had made all kinds of justifications earlier.
I don't know if Garret knew that there was an enforcer in the room.
He put it in his pocket for a reason. So, I mean, this is own it. I guess is what I'm saying. Garret wanted to release the video, and he wanted to release it before the Free State Project. We have no evidence the Free State Project wasn't going to release this video within the next 3 days. So
I have no evidence to suggest that they were necessarily going to release the raw video, especially because I saw a post that said something about when Reason releases their video. Reason tends to release edited videos.
Yeah, they do.
I'm not interested in granting any one particular media monopoly on an event, a historical event.
Well, unless you're whistleblowing, the release of raw video or audio in this case could have been done when Reason releases their video in conjunction with that without trying to scoop them. This is a case where somebody wanted to get a scoop. And there's nothing wrong with being a journalist who wants to get a scoop, but it is in violation of the journalistic ethics. Is it not?
I don't think so.
I have an obligation to Reason.
He's gotten it. Yeah, I totally agree with Garret. And Garret, you're going to stick with us here, so stand by. Hour number 2 is on the way. If you've got a question for him, he's here with us on Skype. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof form of money to the people, where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom and the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order.
If you want to move to the Free State and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State. Or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, February 22nd, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.10 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,211 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $437. Antiwar.com reports over the weekend Turkish Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu demanded that the U.S. pledge unconditional military support for Turkey in the fight against the Kurdish YPG, a Syrian faction which has been the primary U.S. ally in fighting the Islamic State. Davutoglu insisted, "The only thing we expect from our U.S. ally is to support Turkey with no ifs or buts." Davutoglu reiterated that the YPG was behind last week's Ankara bombing, despite a Turkish faction known as the TAK claiming responsibility. Turkey has repeatedly demanded the U.S. sever ties with the YPG, and the U.S. has repeatedly rejected those demands. Turkish officials appear to be hoping that the Ankara bombings and the dubious claims of YPG involvement will force the U.S. into shifting their policy. With the U.S. and Turkey both already condemning the Syrian military for its gains against the Islamic State, however, the shift against the YPG would be tantamount to backing territorial claims by the Islamic State in northern Syria and leave the U.S. with literally no allies in the region. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports FBI investigators said a password reset on the San Bernardino shooter's iCloud account connected to his iPhone early in the investigation may have lost them the opportunity to extract weeks' worth of information from the device. The FBI said on Saturday, despite that misstep, the Bureau's goal remains to extract as much evidence as possible from the phone of Saeed Rizwan Farouk. In the chaotic wake of the December 2nd shooting that left 14 people dead, the Bureau had San Bernardino County reset the password to the phone's iCloud account. By resetting the county-owned phone, both the county and the FBI eliminated any possibility of retrieving data beyond October 19th through an auto backup feature. On December 6th, in an effort to recover data from the iPhone 5C, the FBI asked a San Bernardino County technician to reset the phone's iCloud password. That action precluded any possibility of an automatic backup to the Apple iCloud servers, which might have turned up more clues about why or how the attack occurred. It's unclear what helped the contents of Farouk's phone might provide investigators. Almost 7 weeks of potential messages, text, photos, and data are missing from when Farouk last updated his phone to the iCloud on October 19th through the date of the shooting. An FBI spokesman said the agency's goal was and still is to grab as much evidence from the phone as it can to determine why and how the attack occurred. Authorities said Farouk and his wife, Tashfeen Malik, opened fire at a holiday party on December 2nd. The two were killed later the same day. The FBI had previously conducted tests which showed that direct data extraction from Apple's mobile devices often yields more data than an iCloud backup. The Justice Department revealed the stumble in a court filing on Friday. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports an Iranian-American businessman detained in Iran since October has been denied access to his lawyers by authorities, according to his attorney and his family. Sayamak Namazi, a dual U.S.-Iranian citizen, was detained by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in October while visiting family, according to a source familiar with the matter who declined to be identified. Iranian authorities have not yet announced any charges against him. 5 other American citizens were released from Iranian prisons more than a month ago as part of a historic prisoner swap with the United States. After their release, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said that he had commitments from Iran that Namazi's case would soon be resolved. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Republicans back a plan for universal lawn care, and an RC car works up the courage to approach a group of girls. And now a recap of the week's news for those who like to waste their summers surfing the internet. Fall, the long-running series of shorter days and cooler nights, was canceled this week after nearly 3 billion seasons on Earth. The classic period of the year, which once occupied the coveted slot between summer and winter, will be replaced by new stifling humidity levels and near-constant sunshine. A shiny, bobbing object in the water is generating fascination among members of the fish community, who have described it as pleasingly wiggly and minnow-esque. Aquatic experts say that decisive action must be taken against the object very soon. In local news, just when 27-year-old Andrew Sheets didn't think his vacation could get any better, a rerun of Spin City came on. And in other headlines, a bee stuck between the screen and front door is going nuts. And a water skier lets go of the crossbar to greet those not currently water skiing.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the second hour of the program. The discussion on the internet today has been hot and heavy on social media, Facebook, Twitter. people commenting on the news that broke this morning as Garret Ian posted late last night his video, the surreptitious audio recording with a few still frames and some video footage of Edward Snowden's discussion at the Liberty Forum, which happened this weekend. We had the pleasure of broadcasting live from the event. It was a fantastic event. I think everyone that attended that I talked to seemed to really be enjoying themselves. Snowden seemed to enjoy himself. He had a big smile on his face, and I think everything was okay.
Everybody loved your acceptance speech there on the closing night, the dance party. People really liked you until Garret posted the story.
Yeah, well, they forgot in that
they
moment.
Forgot about you.
They forgot about how I have ruined the movement so many times. And of course, as it's a real. If I can ruin the movement, it's really more of a statement about how weak and pathetic the movement is. If all it takes is one man with a blog or a microphone to ruin it. But Garret, you've also, I imagine, been accused of ruining the movement a time or two because you're willing to actually put your freedom on the line for activism's sake. You're, an outside of the system, inside of the system activist. You do a lot of different stuff up here, and you've been, doing great work with Robin Hood of Keene and other things. And I'm sure our listeners over the years have become very familiar with you. But for our listeners who don't know you, what do you do? For those just tuning in.
Wow, I do all sorts of things, and that made me think that over the span of all the activism I've done, you're right. There's at no point that there hasn't been somebody to level criticism. But it's a sign that you're going against something, you're trying to change something, and it's to be expected. I consider myself an accountability activist. I identify as an anarchist. I believe in human rights. I know the word property rights is getting thrown around a lot. And I think some people put a primacy on property rights over human rights, not recognizing that it is an extension of human rights and not some sort of territorial dictate that on land, like, magic rules automatically exist because somebody is recognized as a person in authority at that time. So, I mean, I think there's a great conversation to be had about, like, what rules you're supposed to obey in what scenarios and at what point something becomes a law. I don't think that the request was made elevated to the level of a rule. I don't think there was any sort of written indication of that anywhere that I've seen.
Just to clarify for our listeners here, you're referring to the Edward Snowden interview event over the weekend at the Liberty Forum, that there was no sort of notice in any kind of written form. It was not written on the ticket. It was not part of the agreement you had to agree to in order to get the ticket online or offline.
Yep.
Nothing was mentioned. There were no signs posted about no recording, no cameras, no audio recording devices.
But he did get at the very first part of the recording. He's recording Matt Phillips saying, "Everybody, please don't record."
Right. That's all there was, and it was merely a request not to record.
Well, I think it shows a high level of integrity that Garret chose to keep, keep the start of the video as essentially, "Hey, don't record." Matt Phillips saying, "Hey, don't record this." I think that shows that Garret is, he's not hiding
that he
from
was
what
asked
he did.
not to. Yeah,
right.
that's true.
I mean, I think that's a high level of integrity.
And nor did he
I
edit,
want to applaud him on that.
Nor
but
did
I mean,
he
this
edit
was
the footage.
surreptitious,
right? But nor did he edit the footage or the audio. So this was a straight feed of what exactly happened. And that was part of your intention here, was to get this thing out raw, unedited, so people could hear the original track that may be cut up later on by Reason.com. Ostensibly, once Edward Snowden's attorney approves the footage, and there are some who are saying that, well, now she won't approve the footage because Garret put this out.
They didn't need to.
Well, yeah, they do, because the official video is going to look better. It's going to sound better. They've got an actual proper audio track in it. So I still hope that the actual video comes out, and I hope that it's the full video. I hope Reason doesn't cut it down to its usual length of 7 or 8 minutes for their YouTube
channel. Or if
channel.
Reason does cut it down, that the Free State Project is then allowed to post the full thing.
That's true. The rumor is the Free State Project has supposed intellectual property rights over the footage, even though they're allowing Reason to release it on their channel. This leads me to a question here, because I think there's some more internal, I guess, detailed issues that can be discussed, rather than just the question of, well, should Garret have hit the record button or not, which is kind of where we hit on the first hour of the show. Was this wiretapping? Given that in New Hampshire there are some pretty restrictive laws about wiretapping. New Hampshire is one of the freest states in the United States, but its wiretapping laws are some of the worst, that make it illegal to record conversations to which you are a party without the consent of all of the participants to those conversations. Presumably, I think that's a big question here. Garret, did you consider that before you put this out there, and what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. This is not wiretapping per definition of the statute. as this was an area where there was absolutely no expectation of privacy. There were multiple people filming.
The words expectation of privacy do not appear in the New Hampshire wiretapping statute.
Yeah, they do. I could point you to it, actually, if you give me a sec.
Please do, because I've read it hundreds of times.
Weren't you just reading it tonight?
Just to be clear, yes, well, all right, you're right. It doesn't say the line expectation of privacy, but there is a line about an expectation that the interaction is not subject to interception. And that would be essentially an expectation of privacy, that somebody else does not already have access to it.
Meaning
and so when you're in a crowded, when you're in a crowded room, when it's being recorded, when it's being broadcast, that expectation that there is no interception does not exist. So wiretapping does not apply. But thank you for bringing that up.
I think you're right about that. So if there's like if there's 6 recordings going on and you add the 7th recording to it, are you somehow responsible for wiretapping the whatever interactions are going on in the room? And I would say that probably from a legal standpoint, the fact that it's getting recorded 6 times, the 7th recording doesn't really make a difference. Exactly. And this seems to be a matter of privilege too. There seems to be this expectation that, oh well, there's a journalistic outlet that has this privilege to this thing, and they're allowed to be the official journalists, and everyone else can be the crappy handwritten notes journalist. That seems rather arbitrary and ridiculous to me. I'm not interested in controlling other journalists, so I don't really appreciate if it is true that another journalistic outlet was trying to control independent media.
Carlos Miller from photographyisnotacrime.com, of whom I'm a huge fan.
Just one thing, it wasn't just independent media. WMUR was there. They are by no stretch of the imagination independent media, and they did not record the event.
Good for them.
Carlos Miller from photographyisnotacrime.com has weighed in on some of the comments on Facebook. I'm just going to share a couple of them here. Quote, he says wiretapping would not apply in New Hampshire because nobody had an expectation of privacy. If he had the phone in his pocket, it may very well apply in Massachusetts or Illinois, but even that's a stretch. It sounds like he says a lot of unnecessary drama. What basically happened here is that Reason had the exclusive because they were probably a large sponsor of the event. I doubt that Reason paid Snowden because that would be unethical and complicated, but Reason probably sponsored the event and asked for exclusivity, which is what any major network would do in a presidential debate that they sponsor, for
example. Which is not actually true. Reason didn't sponsor the event, but Free Talk Live did, and Free Talk Live didn't get the exclusive. Isn't that correct?
No one approached us about anything.
What do you mean? The exclusive? No, they did not. But Free Talk Live is a sponsor. So I get what he's saying here is that he's saying that, likely this is the sort of thing that a sponsor would get. And I'll bet you that the Free State Project went to Reason and sort of worked this out. Hopefully they made a deal that would be beneficial to them. But while we're talking about sponsorships and who deserves what, let's point out that the Free Talk Live is a sponsor.
I want to make it clear. I don't agree with you, Mark. I don't deserve anything.
I didn't say I deserved anything. Right. I'm just saying that he says that the sponsor, like he's
speculating.
He's speculating that the sponsor, that the media organization would sponsor this in order to get exclusivity. There's one media organization that I know that sponsored this, and that's Free Talk Live, who has an ongoing sponsorship of the Free State Project, and no one offered us the exclusive.
Carlos also comments on another post, quote, it's unrealistic to get a room filled with people in a public gathering, even though it was a private function, and present them Edward Snowden via Skype and tell them not to record. One must assume they are being recorded at all times in public. He says, I don't really care about the politics of it all, the whole property rights thing, because this was an event in a public forum as far as I'm concerned. Does everybody believe just because you set some arbitrary rule that everybody is going to just abide by it? This is really about control and an event organizer's inability to control everybody from abiding by their wishes. Garret Ian is with us from freeconquer.org, freekeene.com. The video, if you haven't seen it yet, you want to take a look, it's right now the top post at freekeene.com, much to the chagrin of many in the Liberty community who have demanded that I, as the blog administrator, take it down, which, of course, I'm not doing because I'm backing Garret up. He's one of my bloggers, and my bloggers are generally completely unrestricted. It's Free Talk Live.
February is National Heart Month, and chances are you have a cardiovascular issue like I do. I help maintain my healthy heart by drinking Super Beets. It's a superfood powder that I mix with water, but you can mix it with yogurt or put it in a smoothie, whatever you want. Not only does it help boost my circulation and support my healthy blood pressure naturally, but I feel the energy and stamina boost in about 20 minutes, which no other superfood formula guarantees. All the beets from Super Beets come from one non-GMO farm in California, so they can keep a close eye on the production of the dietary nitrates. I want you to try this product for National Heart Month. And if you don't feel the results, you don't pay, guaranteed. Get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get nitric oxide indicator strips so that you can see it's working. Plus, get the free book, Beat the Odds. And all of this comes with free shipping. Call 800-951-8940 or visit FTLbeats.com. I believe in Super Beets. 800-951-8940, FTLbeats.com.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey Guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit goberkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey Guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at goberkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. goberkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
When commercials come on, don't push the button. Instead, listen. Even if you don't sell things for a living, you're still selling in the various conversations and transactions that make up your busy day. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're a job seeker. So take a lesson from Madison Avenue. Often the fewer words, the more effective the message. Like Jiffy Lube, where you never need an appointment, or the Office Max ad that says, you supply the ambition, we supply everything else. How about online ticket broker StubHub.com, the way in when it's sold out, or CyberCupidMatch.com's seductive, go ahead, it's okay to look. How cleverly and succinctly can you distill your message? For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free. Our number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, but it's not going to work for you if you're trying to talk to Garret Ian, who we still have on the line. He's the independent journalist from freeconcord.org and freekeene.com, who released online late last night, early this morning, the surreptitiously recorded video, or actually I guess audio track with some still frames and a little bit of video on his YouTube channel. Also, it's over there as a top post right now at freekeene.com, which then sparked much controversy today, throughout all the day today, and it has been constant, Facebook flame wars over this. There have been lots of names called, lots of people saying Garret doesn't respect private property rights, that this was the hotel and the event organizers' rights to control their property, and when they asked, and they just asked, they said, please turn off your cameras, that when they said, please turn off your cameras at the beginning of the Edward Snowden event, that meant that Garret had to turn off his camera or else he had to leave the room. I disagree. I don't think it was explicit enough. I don't think enough notice was put up. But even if they had been explicit, let's go ahead and say, just for the sake of argument, and Garret is still with us here. Thanks for sticking with us and continuing the discussion, Garret.
For sure.
Let's say that it'd been crystal clear that it was printed on the ticket, that it was printed, there were signs up at the doors, that it was on the program guide, that it was in as many places as they possibly could have put it, in addition to being explicitly said beforehand, if you have an audio or video recording device, you must leave the room now. You're not allowed.
Or turn it off.
Or turn it off, or submit to security and show that you've turned it off, or whatever. Whatever, some sort of very explicit thing, rather than just saying, please turn off your cameras. If it had been explicit, what would you have done, Garret?
Well, I almost, as I said, I almost had a chance to talk to Carla, but she was too occupied with MUR at the time.
That's the president of the Free State Former.
Let's say that I had talked to her and she said, yeah, unfortunately, we're not allowing any recording in there. I mean, you can't really speak about what you may have done in a situation, but I'd like to think that I would have said, well, I'm going to be recording anyway, and I hope that that's not an issue. And I probably would have done just the exact same thing I did, put a device in my pocket and pull the audio. I believe that was a historically significant event. I believed it needed to be recorded by as many recordings as possible, and I don't think it's reasonable to just on the spot tell people that they can't record or can't film or whatever other sort of language to restrict acts of documentation, acts of objective journalism. People.
A lot of this isn't about the recording, though, right, Garret? I mean, this is about the release of the recording. This is about the hyping of the release of the recording. So no one's going to be...
No, it's about the recording.
Wait a second. Do you think that there would have been the outcry today if Garret would have recorded this and kept that recording for a few days to see whether they released it, and then after they released it in, say, 3 or 4 days, then he releases the recording afterwards?
Maybe not as much, but I think still there would be a lot of butthurt libertarians acting like Garret doesn't respect private property rights. But Garret, what do you think?
Well, I'm just wondering why it is that they believe that there are that sort of thing can be just a rule that you apply to someone. I mean, I guess maybe I have a different view of technology than other people do, but I see the technology as an extension of the individual. I don't see myself as capable of controlling what other people do with technology in an ostensibly public forum. It was relevant to the public stuff that was all going on. This is not somebody's home. I've heard a lot of people today try and equate this with, oh, you'd record me in my home if I invited you in. You're a bad person. And no, you'll ask anybody whose home I've been into. I don't violate the rules of people's homes. I don't believe I violated any rules here either in the Liberty Forum, which has the word forum in it. The implication is that it is a discussion, a discourse.
Yeah, right. A discussion that can be observed and listened to by others. And this leads, this whole concept that we're discussing right now leads me to, I think, one of the more fundamental questions here. For some libertarians, these are like these hardcore property rights libertarians. They say, Garret, you violated the property rights. And let's give it to them that it was explicit, even though it wasn't. Let's say it was explicit, and you went ahead and you did it anyway. They would say, well, you violated these property rights, and you're a bad man, and you need to be banned from future events. Now, certainly, with the idea of property rights, they, knowing what Garret is likely to do in the future in an event like this now, could certainly decide to not allow him into the room. Would that prevent someone else from doing the same thing? No. But it would certainly stop Garret from getting in. And they are certainly within their rights to do that. But I think this leads to the question, and I'd love to hear all the panel's responses here, including you, Garret. Property rights, do they end where your body begins when it comes to gathering the news? And what I mean by that is, yes, you have the right to remove someone from your property. I think all of us would agree with that. If somebody is doing something that's offensive or you don't like or is against the rules, like recording or whatever, you have the right to remove that person. Until then, however, that person has the right to, I think, record anything that happens to them, whether it's security hustling them out the room or, someone having a debate with him about whether or not he should be able to record. If those photons and those sound waves are hitting your body, in my opinion, it is your right to record them as a member of the media, as a free individual, and then it is up to the property owner to figure out what to do about someone who is violating their rules. I don't think that someone can say no recording is allowed on this property. So, for instance, let's look at this for an example. Classic example of wiretapping in New Hampshire that would be legal anywhere else that you talked about, Darryl, at the most recent hearing is like News on Your Side, where they go into some private business, like an auto repair shop, that they've heard from their customers that, well, these guys are scamming.
They're rip-off artists.
They're ripping people off. So they go in with the undercover cameras. They bring in a car they've already had checked out by two auto mechanics, and the auto mechanics say, this car is fine. There's nothing wrong with this car. They bring the car in. They've got undercover cameras, and they find that these guys don't even barely look at the car, and they're like, oh, yeah, you got this wrong and this wrong. The flux capacitor's broken.
Right, and that fits in with the journalistic code of ethics that specifies, I'll read this again, avoid undercover or surreptitious methods of gathering information except when traditional open methods will not yield information vital to the public.
Right.
And if you were to walk into the, sleazy car repair and say, do you rip off your customers? They would say, no.
No doubt. But my point was going to be,
surreptitious recording is the only way you would get that information.
And that's the same thing. That's the same thing with the Edward Snowden situation. But my point was going to be, if the business puts a sign up on their front door that says, no cameras allowed, no audio recording allowed, then is it wrong for you to go in there and prove that they are scamming people with undercover equipment?
So I would say that the public need argument would sort of come up here. Is how much does the public need a news organization to go in and report on this? And I would say that the public need would be relatively high. Whereas in a case like what Garrett's doing here is that it's not the recording that is really at issue here. It's the release of the recording. And that's why people are going after you, Ian, because you're sort of harboring the release of the recording.
Yes, I'm protecting Garrett's post from being removed. I'm not going to remove it.
And so
but I agree
Garret isn't catching anyone doing anything here.
But he is doing something that the public needs to hear.
Agreed. And they probably will in a couple of days.
Maybe they will, maybe they won't. What if his lawyer says no? 855-450-FREE.
Then you release the video.
855-4... Well, it's already out. 855-450-3733. We'll get Garrett's thoughts here, and yours are welcome as well. This is Free Talk Live.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Free Talk Live.
You guys live in a dream world.
No, sir, you're the one that lives in a dream world. You're the one that wants to have a police state in America where you get to determine who can come in and who can't. You want to have border patrols. You want to have checkpoints.
You want to let the entire third world into this country?
Sir, I'll answer that question by reading a short excerpt from a poem. Maybe you've heard of it. It happens to appear at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty. It was about...
You're poor, you're tired, huddled masses.
Great, you are aware of it,
let them come in legally.
Well, come on, the legally, Lou. The legal is such a cop-out. Now, hold on a second, because when your ancestors came across, and I don't know what they are, let's say they're Italian. When your ancestors came across, all they did was take you to Ellis Island, screw up your last name, sit you around for 3 days, and then bam, you're out the door. Now, legal is a huge pile of paperwork and tens of thousands of dollars.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait now. Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
What
am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derrick J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free. Our number is 855-450-FREE. You'll want to call that number if you've got a question relating to the conversation we're having. Normally, Free Talk Live is open phones, any topic goes. And, you know, if this winds down, we will go back to that. But this is discussion is going very, very strong right now, and I want to keep it to this because we have a special guest on the line. Garret Ian is with us from freeconcord.org. We're going to bring him back here in a moment, and we will go to your calls coming up.
I've been taking this supplement. It's called Super Beets. I've been taking it every day for weeks now, and I'm really excited about it. Maybe you've heard about some of the advantages of eating beets. Nitric oxide is it's a study that there was some kind of study that won a Nobel Prize back in 1998, and you know, the idea is that nitric oxide increases heart health, lowers blood pressure, that kind of thing. Heart health, you know, I mean, cardiovascular disease, that's not an if, it's a win. If you live long enough, it's going to affect you. And that's just what one of the issues of being human. And you can help your body fight this by simply taking Super Beets. Just mix it with water is what I do. Darryl, you take it too, and you mix it into a smoothie? Into a smoothie. Can't even taste it. Yeah, so I don't mind the taste of it. It's a little tangy, a little fruity. Doesn't taste like beets at all. But it's great. It really works. They give you these nitric oxide tester strips with it, and you can try it before and then try it maybe an hour after you take it, and you'll see there's a dramatic difference in your the nitric oxide in your system, and that makes a big difference. Also, there's an energy boost with Super Beets. And if you don't feel the results of Super Beets, if you don't see the results with the nitric oxide strips, you don't pay. Guaranteed. You get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get, of course, the tester strips, as I mentioned, and you get the free book, Beat the Odds. And all of it comes with free shipping. It's really without risk, folks. Please, give it a try. I truly do believe in Super Beets. I know people have been kind of asking, you really believe that? Yes, I do. It's great to be able to endorse a product like this that I believe in. 800-951-8940, FTLBeats.com. 800-951-8940, FTLBeats.com.
All right, so the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Garret Ian is with us from freeconcord.org, also freekeene.com. Still blogging there, even though he's up in Concord, freekeene.com. has sort of become the de facto go-to site for bloggers all across New Hampshire to get the word out about what they're up to. And this was a pretty big thing that you did. You recorded video and actually you recorded audio and put it to a still frame video track mostly of Edward Snowden's speech/discussion with Nick Gillespie that happened at the Liberty Forum over the weekend. This thing got plenty of news coverage all around the globe, and great, exposure for the Free State Project. And it sort of led to a larger discussion of rights versus rights, property rights, the idea of you being able to set rules and control your property versus your right to record. Can someone decide arbitrarily that you can't record while you're on their property? And I gave an example of the scummy automotive dealer or auto repair shop that has an undercover news team come into it and record them getting scammed by the auto repair shop. If they put a sign up on the front door that says no cameras allowed, no recording allowed, does that all of a sudden make it wrong for you to go in there and expose their fraud? Garrett, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I think it raises a very good issue of the idea of, as I said earlier, I don't believe that recording is something that you can necessarily curtail, and I'd like to compare it to something that I know a lot of libertarians or anarchists would stand up for the right of someone to defend themselves. They'd say your self-defense right does not end at a property boundary, in the sense of, let's say you eat at a restaurant and it has a sign that says no firearms, and you concealed carry. I know plenty of people call themselves libertarians, anarchists that do that sort of thing.
Yeah,
and,
great point.
Sure.
They won't necessarily be like, oh, I'm violating the property rights of the owners and violating their rules. They may have some sort of tinge of conscience in the back of their mind, but I don't feel like they should have to. I feel like it is rather a ridiculous claim to try to control the either tools that someone may have in their pocket, the cameras that someone may have in their pocket. If you're going to be involved in illicit activity that for people's safety involved needs to not be recorded, then you take the necessary precautions. You go into private rooms, but by no means could what was going on at the Edward Snowden event be called a private room.
Right.
It was publicly accessible, and as long as you had the ticket, you were allowed in the door.
Yeah,
there
were
was
not
no
violating
security,
a
there was no vetting of feds.
Right, you weren't violating a privileged private conversation, which would have been a completely different story. Darryl, I don't know if you had responded to the question about. I think you might have said something previously, but about the going into a shop. But what are your thoughts on Garrett's example of carrying a weapon? And there used to be a place called McHugh's here in Keene, and it was actually run by someone who claimed that he was a libertarian. We had our Social Sundays meeting there for a number of years here, a weekly regular meeting. Place is now closed because he retired and sold it. But there was a sign on the door that did say no weapons. Now, while that did keep some people away, I believe there were others who, if they had a knife in their pocket or a gun that was carried concealed, some of them wouldn't necessarily leave that in the car.
Right,
just
and
I am a living weapon.
The property owner would have the authority to ask people to either leave their property or not come back
if it was brought to their attention.
Right. So if you walk in, they've got a sign. Panera is a perfect example. They have a no guns policy.
Mm-hmm.
So
they do
there's
now?
some
Because
people.
I've seen people open carrying in Panera, and that Panera in Keene.
Are you sure it's a no guns policy or a request? Because remember when the Starbucks situation happened, I know it's not Panera, but another example, when the Starbucks thing happened where these two bumbling oafs came in and they were like wielding their weapons in their hands and being ridiculous about it, if I'm recalling correctly, Starbucks made some sort of public statement about please leave your weapons at home. And again, that's not a rule, that's a request.
Right, and my understanding, because I don't work at Panera, I don't know how they phrase their policy, but I know that there are some people that refuse to go to Panera because they heard that weapons aren't allowed.
I don't believe that's a sign on their window, though. I don't believe there's any signage for that.
I don't know if it's on the window, but
then it's not
if
a rule.
you walk in and the manager asks you to leave,
yes, you should leave.
You could be an a-hole and say, I'm not leaving, I got rights, Second Amendment, blah, blah, blah. Or you could be a decent human being and say, okay, I will leave.
Well, the Second Amendment doesn't grant you the right to carry a gun on somebody else's property.
Right, but there are people that are going to make that argument
I understand
and say that the
world
Second
is full
Amendment
of dumb
trumps
people,
everything.
Darryl. I want to point out to anybody who's listening here that none of us on this show believe for 1 second that the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States means that you have a right to carry a gun onto someone else's private property.
And I don't think Garrett would have refused to leave if he was asked to leave, all right? Garrett, I mean, if somebody came up to you and said you need to leave, you would have probably asked for your money back and then would have left, right?
That is a very good question. I had no intention of standing my ground recording, etc. I probably would have just gotten up and left recording the entire time, walking backwards. But I have had people, at least two, that suggested that I should have been a boisterous recorder or something, or drawn attention to the recording and sort of made an issue of it instead of just passively recording. But I think that's what I was
that would have been
trying
counter to your goal. Your goal was to get the video of this out.
The event.
Yeah.
Right. My goal was to get the information. My goal wasn't to make a scene. So I think a lot of this issue is that the focus is on myself and just presenting information, when really the event was Snowden. The news should be Snowden and the message he delivered. But unfortunately, I think the message is lost in this minutia about intellectual property and property rights that seems very tangential to the fact that a newsworthy historical event happened in Manchester.
Let's go to the phones here and your calls and thoughts. We've got Joe. He's on the line in Alabama. Joe, you're on with Garret Ian on Free Talk Live.
Yes, the question I have is sort of twofold. When the government was recording us without our knowledge, that's sort of what got him in trouble. But coming back to this, if it's okay for him to record the situation, then I'd hate for it to come back around to where it's okay for the government to start recording us again. But the question I've got is...
They haven't stopped.
Yeah, hold that thought with the question here. We're going to get to your question. Stand by, Joe. You're being drowned out by the tunes there. I want to make sure you're able to be heard by our listeners. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Garret has been very generous and has given us as much time as we need to get your questions in about this, because I think there are some important issues at play here. And, of course, I've been accused of aggrandizing myself through all this. It's like, how can I not talk about this on Free Talk Live? It's Free Talk Live.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Ely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit-selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away 5,000 free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-961-8439. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-961-8439. 1-800-961-8439.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care, as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for under $30,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet under $30,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100 foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait.
Call 800-917-8251. 800-917-8251. 800-917-8251.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited here to dial toll-free. Talk to Garret Ian. He's the blogger who's stirring up all manner of controversy with his recent posting last night of the Edward Snowden audio track, accompanying with a few still photos and a little bit of video that wasn't necessarily synced with said audio. So again, he recorded the audio surreptitiously with an audio recording device in his pants pocket after he was asked to turn off his camera, which he did do. He did turn off the camera when he was asked to turn it off. But some are saying when the Free State Project asked via its new president, Matt Phillips, when he asked people to turn off their cameras, that meant that they had to turn off their cameras and their audio devices. But, you know, legally, I don't think that's necessarily
true. Who cares about your legal argument? You know what he was saying.
Well, I don't know what he was saying because what he was saying was actually kind of convoluted. The actual quote was, quote, "Due to prior agreement, we are not doing any filming, so if you're not part of the official FSP video team, please turn off your cameras." Now, there's a couple different ways someone could interpret that particular statement.
Then why don't we ask Garret how he interpreted it? Because he's the one at question here.
Well, Garrett's on the line with us here, but, you know,
he took the phone, put it in his pocket to hide it.
When someone says "we," what does that mean? The statement reminds me of when, and again, you know, Matt Phillips was just talking to the crowd. He didn't have a prepared statement that he read or anything like that. It was just off the cuff. But it reminds me of when cops will come up and say, "So, what are we doing tonight?" And you know, whenever the cops say that, I'm like, "Well, what are you doing, officer?" You know, are you conducting an investigation? And it's like when it was said, due to prior agreement, we are not doing any filming, that could be interpreted as saying that the Free State Project is not filming due to prior agreement. But what I think he meant...
Right, it did seem contradictory.
Yeah, what was confusing at best, and then further the remainder of the statement is, so if you're not part of the official FSP video team, please turn off your cameras. That is a request. There's no doubt about the word please comes before a request. If he wanted to be more explicit, he certainly could have been. The Free State Project could have been more explicit about the rules, but of course, as we've already determined, Garret may have recorded anyway, even if it was part and parcel of a terms of agreement to get into the event. So let's move on here because we did have Joe on the line in Birmingham, and he was working up to a question, but we ran out of time there for you, Joe. So now go ahead with your thoughts or your question for Garret.
Thank you for taking my call. My question is, knowing just the people of the Keene area, y'all are known to take cameras and push the border just a little bit in courtroom, different type meetings. And so if I know living in Alabama that y'all pushed the border just a little bit, surely they knew somebody there was going to go ahead and record. Because how many events have you yourself been put out of and said, hey, we have the right to record? I think you even went to jail one time for something of that nature. And if they knew that that was there, they should have known that, hey, somebody's going to go ahead and push the boundaries.
Garret?
I agree. It was something that should have been expected given the people that were in the room. I mean, I can think of a handful of other activists that I would think of just off the top of my head that would be like, oh, it's a given. If you're going to see Edward Snowden, you record it. Like, it just seems like such a common idea to me that it seems absurd not to record it.
Exactly, especially under the situation that it all came around from him getting in trouble for telling about the government recording us, which they're probably still doing.
Oh, yeah. Almost a guarantee. Hey, Joe, good call, man. Thanks for calling and asking that question. I do appreciate hearing from you tonight.
The irony of leaking the video of a leaker. Whose lawyer doesn't want the video leaked about him leaking.
And I do feel kind of sad for the Free State Project, because if it's true that Snowden requested this, well, at least that was the claim. I wonder if it was actually his attorney who requested it. Was it Snowden who requested this, or was it his attorney ostensibly on his behalf? And this sort of leads back to a situation that we encountered during the Ross Ulbricht trial, where Ross, who was accused of running the Silk Road, ultimately convicted and sentenced to life in prison for that. At the beginning of the trial, some of our activist friends, including our co-host Derrick J. Freeman and James Cleveland, went down to the trial to do some jury outreach out in front of the courthouse. And the judge basically threatened them and said that if you keep this up, I'm going to sequester the jury. We're going to, just keep them in a secret location and truck them into the court every day and make them think that they're under attack from some sort of mob boss or whatever. And so then the word came to the activists that Ross supposedly did not want them there. But, of course, Ross didn't deliver that message. It was his mother who did, and it seemed like it was maybe more on the behalf of the attorney rather than it was on Ross. So we didn't know what to think about what to do in that circumstance. So it is nice to be able to get some explicit explanation from someone. And, if Edward Snowden would like to make a statement about why it was that he wanted these restrictions, I think that might have gone a long way. Garrett, if Edward Snowden, before this event, instead of the Free State Project saying, please turn off your cameras, if Edward Snowden had addressed the crowd and explained why it was, let's say there's some really good reason for it, and I don't know what that could possibly be, but let's say that he could give some kind of really good reason and explained it to you and then said, this is why I don't want anyone recording this conversation, would you have done it anyway?
Probably not. If Edward Snowden had appeared on the screen, the person I was there to record, and said, please don't record this, that would have been a different scenario entirely. But what I feel is that it seems like there's this idea that there should have been all of this authority granted to the people that were just speaking in the room, with this notion that if they speak a vague request, therefore you should enthusiastically follow it. And I just don't agree with that. I think it just doesn't make sense to have those sorts of obligations on individuals when you gather them in such a massive way.
Let's go to Mike. He's in actually, no, Mike's not on the right topic here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. If you are off the topic of Garret Ian and the recording of Edward Snowden, you're going to have to be patient. We will do our best to get with you here tonight. If you want to call on Skype, sorry, you're out of luck there, because it's not an easy matter to conference one call in with another and then disconnect when we're done. So if you want to contact us and talk to Garret, then the appropriate number is 855-450-FREE.
I asked about this topic. I was trying to,
which part?
Well, just generally. Okay. I'm just trying to, delve down here, because for one, Free Keene, which is, Ian, that's your blog. Free Keene
is a multi-user blog with about a dozen
It's your blog.
Bloggers.
You have control over it. Garret is a blogger on that blog.
There are multiple people with editor and administrative access, but yes, ultimately I control the domain name.
Yep. And you do. Free Keene is not hosting the video. Free Keene is hosting a story about the video that links to the video. And I was trying to sort of figure this all out.
Written by Garret.
Yep, written by Garret. I figured this all out today. But ultimately, you have control of taking it down if that's what you want to do, or modifying it to pull off the
Which
tag.
I can't remember ever having done in the history.
You have never done that, because you have,
Somebody actually pointed out online that you did remove a letter from Ross Ulbricht at the request of his
Ross
motherland.
Ulbricht. No, I did that at the request of initially at okay, you're right.
So if Snowden tweeted you right now and said, pull that, get that video down, you'd do it?
I'd have to think about that. I'm not going to give you a quick answer on that one. But in the case of that, that's a good point, Darryl. In that case, I did it simply because of Lynn Ulbricht's state at that time. Her and her husband contacted me in quite a frustrated phone call. And I reluctantly agreed to first remove a portion of the letter and then ultimately the entire thing. But I did put that letter back online later, and I did finally talk to Ross and confirm that it was at his wishes and not just the wishes of his scared parents about sentencing.
And then wasn't there something, and this would have been probably 4 years ago now, where Brad Jartis, who used to be on the show, had some kind of court order from a judge, and the judge said you have to post this, and then you removed that after he posted something.
He said that Brad had to remove something from the internet, and Brad did, I think, and then I reposted that.
Okay, I thought there was also something to where the judge said you also have to post this court order, and then you removed the court order after he posted.
Yeah,
so
that was it.
Technically, it was posted and then removed.
Yeah, I wanted to violate the judge's order. The judge was ordering me to do things on my blog, and I basically called the judge out with that. That post
really
is
had
still
no
up.
business doing that.
And
So,
by the way, nothing ever happened to me for doing that.
So I was asking today. I was trying to figure out what's everybody mad about? What's going on here? I didn't really know. I wasn't up on it. And Dennis Goddard, who is part of sort of the the anti-Ian phalanx and has been for frankly some time, used to be an amplifier on the show. But I wanted to find out what his point was. And what he said, Ian, is that this is about respect. This is a lack of respect for the Free State Project, for its wishes, the wishes of the president, what was sort of stated here. What do you think about that, Ian and Garrett? I mean, do you just lack respect? Is that what your problem is?
Go ahead, Garrett.
I feel like I do not owe any allegiance to the Free State Project. I mean, I say that intending no disrespect to the individual people, but I'm an independent activist. I'm an independent journalist. I'm not here to abide by their wishes. I'm not there to arm them.
You got drowned out a little bit there. Stand by, Garrett. You're going to continue with us, and we'll bring this topic back up because I think it's a good question, and we'll get Garrett's response and mine as well, because I was also asked to take this post down, supposedly to help the Free State Project or protect them or whatever. And we'll continue. Was that a lack of respect to not do their bidding? 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live. Hour 3's coming up.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more.
It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Monday, gold is down $12 at $1,212 per ounce. Silver is down 18 cents at $15.20 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $437 US. With Bitcoin heading higher and gold and silver giving up recent gains, this might be a great time to swap Bitcoin for silver. Online at rrbi.co or give us a call at 800-874-9760.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, February 22nd, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.10 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,211 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $437. Antiwar.com reports over the weekend Turkish Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu demanded that the U.S. pledge unconditional military support for Turkey in the fight against the Kurdish YPG, a Syrian faction which has been the primary U.S. ally in fighting the Islamic State. Davutoglu insisted, "The only thing we expect from our U.S. ally is to support Turkey with no ifs or buts." Davutoglu reiterated that the YPG was behind last week's Ankara bombing, despite a Turkish faction known as the TAK claiming claiming responsibility. Turkey has repeatedly demanded the U.S. sever ties with the YPG, and the U.S. has repeatedly rejected those demands. Turkish officials appear to be hoping that the Ankara bombings and the dubious claims of YPG involvement will force the U.S. into shifting their policy, with the U.S. and Turkey both already condemning the Syrian military for its gains against the Islamic State. However, the shift against the YPG would be tantamount to backing territorial claims by the Islamic State in northern Syria and leave the U.S. with literally no allies in the region.
Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co.
UPI reports FBI investigators said a password reset on the San Bernardino shooter's iCloud account connected to his iPhone early in the investigation may have lost them the opportunity to extract weeks' worth of information from the device. The FBI said on Saturday, despite that misstep, the Bureau's goal remains to extract as much evidence as possible from the phone of Saeed Rizwan Farouk. In the chaotic wake of the December 2nd shooting that left 14 people dead, the Bureau had San Bernardino County reset the password to the phone's iCloud account. By resetting the county-owned phone, both the county and the FBI eliminated any possibility of retrieving data beyond October 19th through an auto backup feature. On December 6th, in an effort to recover data from the iPhone 5C, the FBI asked a San Bernardino County technician to reset the phone's iCloud password. That action precluded any possibility of an automatic backup to the Apple iCloud servers, which might have turned up more clues about why or how the attack occurred. It's unclear what help the contents of Farouk's phone might provide investigators. Almost 7 weeks of potential messages, text, photos, and data are missing from when Farouk last updated his phone to the iCloud on October 19th through the date of the shooting. An FBI spokesman said the agency's goal was and still is to grab as much evidence from the phone as it can to determine why and how the attack occurred. Authorities said Farouk and his wife, Tashfeen Malik, opened fire at a holiday party on December 2nd. The two were killed later the same day. The FBI had previously conducted tests which showed that direct data extraction from Apple's mobile devices often yields more data than an iCloud backup. The Justice Department revealed the stumble in a court filing on Friday.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports an Iranian-American businessman detained in Iran since October has been denied access to his lawyers by authorities, according to his attorney and his family. Sayamak Namazi, a dual U.S.-Iranian citizen, was detained by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in October while visiting family, according to a source familiar with the matter who declined to be identified. Iranian authorities have not yet announced any charges against him. 5 other American citizens were released from Iranian prisons more than a month ago as part of a historic prisoner swap with the United States. After their release, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said that he had commitments from Iran that Namazi's case would soon be resolved. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Despite a long-held consensus pointing to the mid-20s as the final stage of brain maturation, a new study has found that the adolescent brain doesn't fully form until boys have avenged their father's murder.
New imaging studies suggest that the frontal cortex goes through extensive changes during the period of training when an adolescent boy prepares himself to track down and kill the man who took his father's life. But it's not until the boy stares deep into the murderer's eyes and then stabs him right in the heart that the two lobes fuse into a fully mature brain.
According to Dr. Laurie's findings, the myelin surrounding the teenage nerve synapses develops when boys stake out the home of their father's murderer, put themselves through grueling physical training, and fantasize again and again about how satisfying it will be when he finally makes the bastard who took everything from him beg for his life.
Now, if they let their father's killer slip through their grasp, or if they press the barrel of a gun to the back of his head and then realize they don't don't have what it takes to pull the trigger, then the amygdala is definitively stunted, and they'll have lifelong problems interpreting emotional information.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio here, toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Does property rights trump your freedom of the press, your freedom to record the things that are happening to you? The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. The larger discussion here we've been having is surrounding the Free State Project's Liberty Forum over the weekend. Edward Snowden was one of the speakers. He was interviewed by Reason.com's Nick Gillespie, and during that interview, which was very, very well attended, hundreds of people in attendance. The room was standing room only. They even had an overflow room for people who couldn't fit in the standing room only room. And at the very beginning of the event, it was announced, quote, "Due to prior agreement, we're not doing any filming. So if you're not part of the official FSP video team, please turn off your camera." Garret Ian did turn off his camera, but he had an audio recorder going the entire time. He's now released that audio track on his YouTube channel and over at freekeene.com, and he's been gracious enough to sit in with us throughout the entire show thus far here tonight. Garret, thanks again for hanging out and having this lengthy discussion, because I think it's an important one. A lot of people today are mad at you and mad at me because I'm the creator of the Free Keene blog, and they're demanding, some of them, that I take it down. I take down your post, which I'm not going to do. I did not take down the post that you made of the suicide. There was a man who committed suicide here in Keene back in 2014. You were the only person there who caught that on video that I know of. And you posted that video. It wasn't an explicitly graphic video, but it was indeed a man shooting himself at a somewhat of a distance from your camera and then slumping over, and then I believe the police handcuffing his lifeless body, if I'm recalling correctly. Isn't that what happened there, Garret?
Yes, that is true. While there were people that were offended at the fact that I captured something that was somewhat graphic on video, there was also the point of it gives us the opportunity to be critical of the police response in this situation, which I believe was not totally in the man's interest.
Right, and there were a lot of haters that emailed in, that sent messages on Facebook demanding that you and I pull this video down. I refused to do that because I saw it as news. This is an important event that happened, and yours was the only video of it, and it's super important in that case to get that video out there and to leave it out there. I'm sorry if it offends the family. And I encountered a similar situation when the family of Tom Ball was upset that I wanted to find the video footage of this man who set himself on fire out in front of the Cheshire County courthouse back in 2011 in protest of this ridiculous family court system.
Tom Ball was trying to get publicity, setting yourself on fire and leaving a how many pages was that 18-page suicide letter about how we're going, let's burn down courthouses across America. Yeah. I mean, that guy was looking for attention, so you were in that case honoring the wishes of the deceased. Well,
yeah, but still, I wasn't allowed to get the footage.
The wishes of the family in this case.
But the court refused to allow me to get the footage because the family was trotted in and they cried about how sad they were and how I shouldn't be able to release this footage. So it's not uncommon. This isn't the first time that freekeene.com bloggers have been in hot water because they put something out there that upset people, that was acquired under circumstances that some people disagreed with. But there's been a large discussion we've been having about property rights and your right to record. And was it, Mark, you were the one asking the question about a lack of respect. You said you talked to one of the critics online, and he said that Garret and Ian, they have a lack of respect for the Free State Project.
This demonstrates a lack of respect because the Free State Project asked you not to record and asked you and has asked you to remove the recordings. The Free State Project here, if anyone owns this, owns this intellectual property, right?
But we don't believe in that stuff.
Well, I'm not entirely sure. I don't believe in intellectual property.
You're not sure you don't believe in it?
I'm not sure I do. I say I believe in intellectual property, which is that I think you should be able to have intellectual property if you can defend it. Part of the defense of that is creating agreements with people.
So cavity searches next year at Liberty Forum.
Remaining in the room after somebody asks you not to record is then an agreement. So therefore, they are sort of within their rights. if I was the Free State Project, I'd be entertaining the idea of not letting either of you ever come back to another event.
Is there a lack of respect on your part, Garret? How do you answer that question? I mean, I know you started at the end of the last hour, but you kind of got drowned out by our music, so please start again.
Sure. I fail to see how it's about respect in the sense of I consider that sort of request somewhat disrespectful.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make it of others. In fact, there were some journalists who did a story on us, the Colbert Report, back when Robin Hooding was very popular in Keene, and they were considering canceling doing the story with us because I told them that if you guys are recording, I may also be recording as well. And I believe that's a natural human right. I believe it's about equality. It sounds like the person that you're describing that's saying this is about respect is it sounds similar to when people say you're supposed to respect the military or other organizations or institutions. I don't have any sort of inherent allegiance to anyone, be it the government, be it the Free State Project, be it Edward Snowden. I'm interested in the truth, and I wanted to share the truth of what went on at that meeting, and I did that. I took action to do that.
I totally
agree. That much is true. Now, but I would say that as far as sharing the truth goes, to some extent, the truth hasn't really been hidden yet. The event took place on Saturday. You released the video on Sunday.
There were dozens of news articles about the event that were published Saturday and Sunday.
We don't have any information from the Free State Project suggesting that they're going to embargo this video for any period of time or anything like that. It's like they haven't even had a chance to tweak it any way, shape, or form yet and then put it out. I would say at least waiting till, say, Wednesday and say, like, hey, I've got some recording here and I'm going to release it if you guys don't. That might have been a way to go with this.
Well, I have to go ahead.
Why exactly? Like, why would I mean, I don't understand. It seems inappropriate for me to tell another person who may be recording, don't release that until mine's out. Why is there this idea that there's supposed to be a preference given to a particular journalistic outfit?
I agree. Whoever can hit it
because
fast
they
enough.
went through the trouble of getting, because you didn't get Snowden there, you didn't do all the effort to get to get all this put together. So therefore, they have sort of that right, and in the sense that you guys, what you're hoping to do here is scoop the Free State Project, and you did. You guys scooped them. But what you need to do now is take responsibility. As, hey, you know what I did? I said, F-U-F-S-P, I scooped you. And that's the direction you need to go with this. I mean, own it.
It's not an F-U to scoop somebody.
I don't consider what I did rude at all.
Yeah.
I mean...
and I agree with Garret completely. It's if there was disrespect here, it was disrespecting the right to record. Everyone in that room should have been able to document that particular occasion. But let's go to your calls and your thoughts. Garret, Ian is with us here from freeconcord.org. Tim is in Wyoming. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Mark, Darryl, and Garret. Ian, go ahead.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, gentlemen. I appreciate it. As I've told you before, I was a federal employee. I was a military policeman, so I had to enforce the no recording statutes that were in effect at various places I've been. And I've also worked for state agencies and other private agencies as well, where the same controls were in effect. Now, when people came in, now this is up to about 1990. So this is before the ubiquitous video cameras everywhere. And obviously, if you wanted to carry a video camera, it was about the size of a small briefcase or something like that. If you wanted to carry something that would actually do some good, but at the time, people didn't have phones. They didn't have, and they respected that there were cameras in the facilities. Obviously, there were cameras on the outside of the facilities where I was working, and they would have signs saying, you cannot record inside. We have a video surveillance system in operation. You cannot enter this facility if you are planning on recording. All activities are recorded for future reference, for future law enforcement, prosecution, etc. And so it was very clear at the time that people, and as I say, people weren't so. I'm not saying people weren't as freedom-oriented. They were just as freedom-oriented then as they are now, probably. But at the same time, they didn't think of themselves as having their privacy invaded. They didn't think, well, if I'm walking inside of this place, and there were obviously no facial recognition cameras, no scanning devices.
I don't know if you're building up to a question, but hopefully you can here in a moment, Tim. 8:55. Hang on.
I was hearing music.
Hang on. We got to get to your question though, because there's a lot of people that want to talk to Garret Ian on the line. So let's get to that real fast here in moments. 8:55, 450 free. Tim used to work for the military as a policeman, and we'll figure out where he's going next. It's Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Looking for an excuse to come check out New Hampshire's liberty activism scene this fall? You're invited to Keenevention. Keenevention is your chance to meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire. You can explore the beautiful little city of Keene, discuss various forms of activism with seasoned veterans, have fun at social events like the Hallow Keene Costume Dance Party, and learn about making the move. Keenevention received rave reviews last year. If you missed it, visit keenevention.info for full video coverage of every speaker and panel. Join old and new friends and neighbors in Keene for Keenevention this November 4th through November 6th. Tickets are available now for a special pre-order price of just $50 via credit card or Bitcoin. However, only 100 pre-order tickets are available, so reserve your tickets now at keenevention.info. Visit keenevention.info for more, or look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenevention.info. You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll-free here to join us and talk to Garret Ian about the controversy that has erupted within the last 24 hours mostly on Facebook, a little bit on Twitter, social media, blowing up with people discussing your right to record versus property rights. Is there a conflict here? It certainly seems like it, where Garret has recorded the Edward Snowden interview that happened over the weekend at the Liberty Forum after everyone was asked to turn off their cameras. Well, he did turn his camera off, but he kept his audio recording going on, which I think is a completely legitimate tactic when dealing with police telling you to turn off a camera, and I think it's a completely legitimate tactic here. But as Garret did say, he probably would have recorded anyway, even if they'd explicitly told him to turn an audio recording device off, because it was in his belief that it was in the public's best interest to be able to see what happened here in an unedited format. We're going to bring him back on, and I want to invite you to learn why you should move to New Hampshire, because, yeah, there are people who don't like each other here. Yeah, there are people who are critical of one another, and, you know, they don't get along. But that's what happens when you have 2,000 people together in the same place. It's just human nature that they're not all going to get along with one another. That's just the way it is. Groups tend to fracture and splinter when they get above 30 people strong. So there have been a number of schisms and fractures and splinters over the years, and, you know, it's not a surprise that here's another one. And anyone out there who says, well, that's the reason why I wouldn't move to New Hampshire is because you don't all get along, well, guess what? Your movement probably doesn't have more than 5 or 10 people in it, so you've never actually had to experience any kind of significant drama or schisming going on. If your libertarian movement were to ever grow to more than 30 people, I guarantee you some sort of conflict of personality would occur. So if you just care about liberty and you want to be around the best liberty movement of all time, that's happening in New Hampshire, despite some of the ones who don't get along with each other. You can go to 101reasonsfilm.com to watch the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. We've got about 2,000 people here now as part of the Free State Project, a few thousand more friends of the Free State Project who are already in New Hampshire. We've got thousands more, 20,000 who've pledged to move in total. And so many, many more are coming. If you want to join the largest, most successful movement, get started by learning more about it at 101reasonsfilm.com, and then you can sign up at freestateproject.org. And so, you know, just the fact that I'm not necessarily doing what the Free State Project might want me to do by pulling down the video that Garret posted on freekeene.com doesn't mean I don't support their organization in general and their goals to help people move here, Garret. And I imagine that you know, this doesn't necessarily change your support for the concept of the Free State Project either, necessarily, because some people are being a little harsh towards you and I on Facebook and the internets today.
Certainly. I think it's Free State Project is a great organization, has attracted wonderful people to the place I already lived, my home here in New Hampshire. But at the same time, there's also the aspect of, is the Free State Project over? I mean, the goal has been reached. 20,000 movers have signed. After that, is the Free State Project as a corporation really a necessary entity? I don't know. I guess Liberty Forum and Porkfest are nice events, but do they need to be run by a corporation? Not necessarily.
They are apparently saying their new goal is to now get 20,000 movers into New Hampshire, so they're not going away. But let's go to Tim so he can finish up and maybe get to his question for Garret. You were saying, Tim, that you were in the military police, and you were referencing back to the day before cell phone video cameras, back when video cameras were humongous and you really couldn't easily hide them, and you were kind of working up to something. So go ahead. You're on with Garret Ian.
Right. Well, Garret, the question I had for you is basically the private function, basically, that it was. I mean, even though people paid to have tickets, they paid to enter the function. Now, if the property owner had decided, if it was not just the organizers of the event that had decided, if the property owner had decided that the Free State or that the Liberty Forum, as it was happening, was not able to be recorded by anyone, then you probably would have been in the wrong to do what you did. But the organizers of the project, now I said the property owners the first, but the organizers of the project were the Free State Project people said, or was it the Liberty Forum people, correct? That they said, they were the ones that said no recording, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and now when you were recording, I mean, basically what you looked at it as, now this is the way I'm looking at it, and maybe you're looking at it the same way. It was a historically significant event, and what you wanted to do is you wanted to document that, and as I heard Ian say, you wanted to get it unedited and unadulterated, nothing added, nothing taken away, and no extra sound effects or whatever. You wanted it exactly as it happened, because it probably was not going to be disseminated as a whole video. And so you wanted to get that out and so I agree with what you did. I'm not saying that, I'm saying that maybe the Liberty Forum organizers should have been a little more clear. They should have said, if you're considering this to be a historically significant event, if you're a member of the media, if you're a member of, a journalist of some kind, even if you just call yourself a journalist, even if you're not accredited, credentialed or whatever they want to say, if you don't have identification that says, well, I work for the New York Times or such and such, that I want to record this, and they possibly could have even tapped into it anyway. But what I'm saying, I'm not saying that happened, but I agree with what you did.
Thanks, Tim, for your call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Let's go to JJ in Manchester. Is this JJ, the former co-host of Free Talk Live?
That's correct. This is JJ.
The very same JJ who is going to be coming on to Free Talk Live as a guest co-host this week on Wednesday night?
That is correct.
Excellent.
I look forward to it.
Go ahead with your thoughts tonight, JJ.
I just have a couple quick things. I know there's probably a lot of callers, but anyway, let me quickly state that obviously I was there with all my cameras. Plus, there was a long line of cameras, so the event was well documented. But I don't really want to get into the actual arguments of whether or not disrespect and all that stuff. I do feel like the organizers had stewardship of the property, and they had the right to make rules regarding that stewardship, and then enforce those rules. What there was no enforcement. So that they said, do not record, and then they were kind and merciful enough, or whatever you want to call it, to not enforce it. But more than that, I checked this video out, and really it's horrible. The quality is absolutely terrible. I'm going to be putting out a five camera composition of this entire thing, and it's beautiful. It's full HD. It's a great representation of not only the Free State Project, let me finish. Not only the Free State Project, but the success they've had. Edward Snowden, Nick Gillespie, and all the people there. A great representation of this wonderful movement and people, not this steaming pile of dog poo that was put out on Free Keene. That's really what it's about. Is that you scooped the dog pile and you put a turd out there and you put Free State Project all over it, and that's a problem. You see. So now, if you can't understand that, then I don't know how. I don't know how to get through to you. But
JJ, just to clarify, are you saying that the attorney for Edward Snowden has approved the footage for release?
I have nothing to do with that. I create the product, I give it to the customer, and then they worry about publishing it and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, because what we had heard, I just want to clarify what I'd heard. The organizer of the Liberty Forum posted. Now, she did claim she was not speaking for the Free State Project when she posted this, but she claimed that the attorney has the footage and that she is reviewing it. Is that not the case? Because you've yet to finish the edit.
No, I can't comment to that at all. But what I will say is that the stuff I have and the work I put into it is going to make everyone proud.
Oh, I believe that. You do some fantastic work, JJ. Stand by. If you got more, you can hang on. Otherwise, we'll see you Wednesday. Garrett, you can respond here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Removing bad taste and odor from your drinking water is easy. Removing the bad stuff you don't taste is what ProPure does best. Water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure countertop, inline, gravity, and household water filtration products. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or call 800-544-3533.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website, fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us here toll-free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. The Skype username is LRN.FM, but you really can't call us on Skype tonight because that's where Garret Ian has been throughout the entire show, graciously sharing his evening with us here to discuss the controversy surrounding him releasing a video. Well, it was in video form, but it wasn't actually video. It was audio track with some still photos and maybe a little bit of video later on of Edward Snowden speaking to the Liberty Forum this weekend after being asked to turn off his camera. And there's a lot of sort of issues that are surrounding this. But JJ, who is a former co-host of Free Talk Live, who's actually just by coincidence going to be coming in this week to co-host the show on Wednesday night with Randy Clemens, actually the Sriracha guy, which will be fun.
I guess that means I won't be here.
Nope, you're not expected to be here at all.
Okay.
Anyway, JJ's coming in this week. He called up Garret to say that you had scooped a pile of dung onto the internet and was saying the quality of the video was not good. He was not impressed. He's going to be having a full 5-camera setup, HD, well-cut video coming up, and wanted to, I guess, point that out. And you didn't really have a chance to respond, so go ahead.
Sure. Well, JJ made a point that he couldn't comment on when that's going to happen, that he was like just a part of that process. And congratulations to him for being a part of that. I would have liked to have filmed the event. That's what I came there to do. But I'm not in business. I'm not working for anyone. I don't have any obligations to anyone. My actions were completely of my own volition. And I think I'm not trying to disrespect at all. If somebody is working, that's great. But motivations, I don't think like monetary motivations really matter in this instance. I think that anybody interested in just sharing information with the public would have been interested in recording that event. So I don't, more on Oh, the fact that the audio quality is so poor, that's something that's worth pointing out. Yeah, it is awful audio quality. You can still hear it. You can still physically make out what's being said. But it is a shame. I would have loved to have made a much better quality product, but that was what I was forced to do given the conditions that were laid down. And that's why I'm speaking out against those conditions being laid down in the future.
Yeah, that's I can totally understand where you're coming from with that, and I am looking forward to seeing JJ's version of this. He's really done a great job at becoming a media producer, having cut his teeth here in Keene, working on Free Keene TV and Shire TV, and now kind of parlaying that into an actual career as a video producer, which I'm really excited about. He's the one who, if you've seen any videos from the Free State Project in the last 6 months or a year or whatever, the odds are good they've been produced by JJ, and so he's done a fantastic job with that stuff. Let's continue here with your calls and your thoughts. We're going to John in Carson, Nevada. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, John. You're on with Garret Ian.
Hi, guys. It sounds to me like Garret committed a trivial property offense that if the FSP had caught him recording in the room, they'd have been entitled to a victim. They're entitled to disinvite him to future events. But they don't have any property rights in the information that was flying around in the room. So he doesn't have any more responsibility than that. And I think what he did for reasons that the Free State Project should agree with. So I consider this a very trivial offense.
Very good. Thanks, John, for your call tonight. Garret?
I appreciate that, John. Thank you.
Let's continue here. We've got Jeremy in Virginia Beach. You're on Free Talk Live with Garret Ian.
Hey,
you're on the air.
So I think the Free State Project should have been having people sign contracts to agree not to record. If they really wanted to go that route.
If they were serious about it, you mean?
If they were serious about it. That said, they didn't do that. I think it'd be well within their rights to bar him from future Free State Project events, or at least events where they're going to ask the people don't record, since he's shown a unwillingness to follow the rules that he disagrees with.
What about
on a voluntary organization? I mean,
what about Ian? Ian's hosting the video too on his
YouTube's hosting the video. I'm just simply running the blog where Garret posted.
Hosting the blog where the link to the video is posted.
Ian's just acting as a third party at this point. I mean, that's like. No, I mean, Ian hosting or linking to the video. I mean, that's not.
But if I don't do the bidding of the people in the Free State Project who want this video taken down,
well,
then
other signers of the Free State Project statement of intent. At this point, the Free State Project itself, the organization, has made no comment.
Yeah, that's true. I was saying the people within the people who are Free State Project participants. So I don't do their bidding. They're gonna be demanding that I be banned from. In fact, the funny thing is, Dennis Goddard, who's like a super critic of mine, even though he's very, very nice to me in person, and he spoke at Keenevention and seemed to be fine with that. He said that he wanted Free Keene banned from the Liberty Forum. So I wonder if that means he wants JJ banned too, because JJ is a blogger at Free Keene, just like Garret is a blogger at Free Keene. So actually, two Free Keene bloggers here are at odds to some extent, but yet Free Keene gets blamed for being the problem. And Darryl, you're also a blogger at Free Keene, and you don't agree. Huh? Go ahead.
Jeremy, I'm a blogger? No.
No, my name is Darryl. I'm one of the bloggers.
No, Darryl is a blogger at Free Keene. Garret is a blogger at Free Keene. JJ is a blogger at Free Keene. I am a blogger at Free Keene. Among those four people, there are different opinions about how this should have been handled, but yet Dennis Goddard is calling for all of Free Keene to be banned from future events. And so once again, there's this idea that somehow Free Keene is the problem when all it is a place for activists to put what they're doing. That's all it is.
You just left somewhere for them to post it. I mean, that's not a just response. That said, I mean, if Ian had a problem with their rules, he should have been vocalizing that beforehand. He should have made that clear beforehand. And instead, he neglected the rules that a private organization had. This is the government. You're not doing some heroic thing like get Snowden or something. I mean, you just disrespected a private organization's rules, and you completely ignored them and violated them.
Thanks, Jeremy, for
your right.
Thanks for your call tonight. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I think it is Garrett's right to record, and I think it's their right to remove him or me or whoever they want to remove from future events. Garret, any thoughts on what Jeremy's had to say?
Well, I think it would be a very poor precedent to set for the Free State Project to begin removing accountability activists.
I agree.
If we consider the people that have been banned or prohibited from attending events that the Free State Project sponsors,
It's a short list.
It's like people that have been convicted of rape, people that have been posting openly racist comments or promoting violence. So the idea that now accountability is going to be considered with crime, it's a bad precedent to set. I think it would be, to be honest, I think it would be the death of the liberty movement in New Hampshire, so to speak, if that really strongly was put into effect. But then again, like what is the FSP relative to the liberty movement? Like, it really is just a matter of a few individuals that happen to be offended that information was released.
Let's continue here. We've got Jacob in Washington. Jacob, you're on Free Talk Live, listening via TuneIn. You're on with Garret Ian.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, Jacob. Go ahead.
I find your debate fascinating, actually. Coming from such a strong liberty movement over here in Washington, there's quite a few of us, too. And you'd mentioned something that inspired me to call in about the splintering. You know, often we have the similar problems over here, you know, like letting people run as a libertarian. I'm like, you know, these arguments of like, well, they're not libertarian. Are they libertarian because of this or that? There's always splintering, you know, in any group of people. But I also I find it wonderful that this is the thing we're arguing about. You know, it's in a weird way because we're all individuals, and this is what liberty's about, is being individuals. Now, my personal opinion, I don't know. I wasn't there. You know, as far as what you guys are talking about, you know, I'm kind of split on the topic entirely. You know, I think that, you know, if you're going to be banned from an event, especially a liberty event, I think that's a little overboard, in my opinion. But you know, also it is a private event, so gosh, that's a difficult one for me. But I just want to let you guys know, this is Jacob. I called a while ago, and I'm the pot store owner up here in Blaine by the Canadian border, and we've got 30 candidates that are going to run for office positions here in Washington.
Awesome. You'll have to let us know when that happens and how it goes. Thanks, Jacob, for the call tonight. 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom in the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom, and with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
You're fired. According to the Small Business Administration, 75% of small businesses plan to eliminate jobs or reduce workers' hours to part-time. You're fired. According to Gallup, the unemployment rate recently jumped to nearly 9%, and the underemployment rate hit a staggering 17.9%. You're fired. 1 out of 3 young adults and 1 out of 2 recent college graduates are underemployed. Hello, I'm Keith Abel, a pharmacist and a home business entrepreneur. In 2011, I became one of those statistics myself. Instead of looking for another job in corporate America, I joined Dr. Joel Wallet, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. We're creating steady incomes for ourselves and would like to show you how to do the same. If you want to supplement your current income, replace your income, so you don't have to become one of the statistics, then give me a call toll-free at 866-257-3105, 866-257-3105. You're fired. Don't wait till you hear those words. Start creating an extra income today. 866-257-3105.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Why are you playing a slot machine sound for an online poker site?
Do you have a poker sound effect? Because we have a new advertiser, swcpoker.eu.
Brought to you by the same guys that did seals with clubs.
Now they're called swcpoker.eu. It's Bitcoin Poker 2.0. They have lots of new games, including Chinese poker. The Krill leaderboard is active now. It's Bitcoin Poker from the brand you trust, swcpoker.eu.
Get on over to swcpoker.eu and start playing now.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain, but enough time for you. If you get your thoughts in here now, you can talk to Garret Ian on the radio. And apparently we are exploiting this situation for our benefit by promoting it on the internet tonight prior to the event actually happening, by me going on the internet and saying, hey, we're going to have Garret Ian on tonight. If you'd like to come talk to him on the radio. That's apparently exploiting this. And Garret, you are also apparently my acolyte. Did you know that?
I've been called many of your possessions, but I don't think acolyte I've heard before.
Yeah, that's a new one. It was actually James Puke who said that on Facebook just a few moments ago after I had posted.
He's been a co-host here.
He has been a co-host here, and I don't know if anyone's ever accused him of being an acolyte, but he kind of got his start here on Free Talk Live back in the day, and now he's accusing Garret of being my acolyte, and me, and I guess the rest of you guys, even though, Darryl, you disagree, with exploiting this for our benefit.
I don't agree either.
Because we can go ahead and just sell this episode for so much more money, right? This is going to somehow benefit Free Talk Live.
Well, I can see how somebody would say that, we're trying to get people who wouldn't listen otherwise to listen, and who wouldn't call in otherwise to call in. I can see that point, but what I find difficult is for me, I'm not interested in reading the 500 post Facebook page.
Oh, they're just going on and on. It's on multiple posts in multiple places too.
Right. I haven't even found them all.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in reading all that. What for me, the best communication tool is sort of having a conversation with somebody, and if somebody calls in and they can explain to me more points that I have not yet brought up, that is, I find value in that. I find that helpful. When people, just say, I'm not going to participate. I'm going to participate on Facebook. Tickety, 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 tickety. I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't. It's of no value to me. That you could make your point on dozens of radio stations, where you can tick away on a thread where a few dozen people will read it.
Totally agree. I think conversations are better when you can actually hear the other person. There's vocal inflections, there's subtleties that are present in the human voice that are not present on the internet. And for anyone to deny that, I think is pretty ridiculous. And Garret, I really appreciate you being on this whole time. We got some more calls. Any comments you want to make before we jump back into them?
Yeah, I think we've been having a good discussion here about this topic, and I hope people are beginning to think about these issues if they haven't previously.
Yes, let's take the archive and exploit that out on the internet as well for more archive downloads, which we can then monetize. Oh wait, no, the idea that even if this show were to be the most downloaded show of the year, which is unlikely that it would be, that would have no effect on our ability to raise more money for the show or sell the show to more advertising.
It really doesn't.
It would do absolutely nothing. So it's really a particularly cynical attitude, but that's what you've come to expect from Puke.
I would say, however, your point of view that Garret leaving this up is detrimental to our fundraising activities. So it is more difficult now with some cranky free staters, a little more cranky, a little more.
I've made your job more difficult as salesman.
This is more. You now make it more difficult. Your penchant for people disagreeing over things makes it more difficult for me to do my job.
Yep. Let's go to Derrick. He's calling from Uruguay. Derrick, you're on Free Talk Live.
First, Garret, thank you for your service. Second, the Free State Project as an idea is the best chance for liberty in our lifetime. Third, I'm glad that JJ's proud of the video he's producing, but apparently he was allowed to record with 5 video cameras when other people weren't allowed to have 1. I'm not sure how boastful I'd be in putting others down when they're at a handicap. And the world needs more recording, not less. Now, I'm with Mark that the best way to sort all this out is with conversation, and the silence from the Free State Politburo on this issue is deafening. For all the talk on blogs and Facebook, you'd think someone from the anti-transparency side would call in to make their case to Garret live on the radio. I mean, is anyone even going to accuse Garret of causing harm?
No. Well, even if they weren't going to call in, I did ask early in the day today. I posted messages publicly in a group and also privately to Free State Project representative, and had not gotten any responses. So, I would have liked to have been able to at least read their responses on this on the air, but, given them all day to respond, they did not. Mainstream media has picked up the story. Garret and I were both interviewed today by the Concord Monitor and the Union Leader after I had sent out a press release about this, and the Concord Monitor did say that Carla Garret, the current exiting president of the Free State Project, had not responded at the time at which I spoke to her. Maybe she responded later, and I said, well, I'm very interested to hear what Carla's responses are, because I still want to know, what was this agreement between the Free State Project and Edward Snowden? Why would Snowden want to restrict recording except to one entity? Why would that matter to him?
Look, forget that the former FSP president Carla gave a speech titled Always Be Recording. Yeah. We're in the era of Google Glass, where anyone might be recording and even live streaming what they see without your knowledge. Even naked strip searches at the so-called Liberty Forum can't prevent people from recording their own lives. And if you believe you can prevent it, I've got news for you. Technology is marching on and leaving you in the past. You can either accept that reality and adjust your own behavior, or continue to try in vain to prevent supposedly free people from making accurate records of their own lives. I mean, someone from the FSP needs to call in, either tonight or tomorrow, to address the reason they want no recording. If it was Snowden's lawyer requesting no recording, they could just say that. If it's that they wanted to get the scoop on the release, they could say that. Or they could have just said, look, record all you want, even live stream, use the hashtag FSP, and tag it at Snowden. Also, follow us on Facebook and Twitter so that you can help spread our video when we release it next week. At least that would recognize the age we're living in. And what's the remedy here for Garret disobeying the request? The FSB has every right to refuse Garret entry into their future events, but that's pointless. That won't stop someone from recording next time. Mm-hmm. And instead, the FSP should just stop trying to control the peaceful behavior of others, because it's becoming the very thing it purports to be again.
Yep.
Well, I
think
can
that's
tell you
very
this.
good insight.
Go ahead, Garret. I'm sorry.
I think that's some good insight, and it brings up the point of when there's this expectation. The Free State Project, or whoever made this agreement, did not have the ability to make the agreement that there would be no recording. That was not a promise that could be made in the first place, even if they did try to actively enforce it. So I wonder why they would even so much as purport to be able to make such a promise.
Well, we also don't know what the terms of the contract were. They could have said, we will request that there's no recording.
I'd like to see the contract.
We don't know what the contract says. Anybody that is, saying the contract says, they're purely speculating, right, unless they have a copy of the contract in front of them.
Hey, Derrick.
All I saw was someone saying stop recording, and when someone tells you to stop recording, that's probably the time you want to be recording
yeah,
the most.
That's generally true.
Especially if you're someone who values the truth.
No.
And I downloaded a copy of Garrett's video, and anyone listening at home can do the same.
Hey, Derrick, just a question since we got you on the phone. Of course, you're a former regular co-host here on Free Talk Live. You're the former host of Flaming Freedom, Cop Block Radio. You've been taking a long vacation, much-needed vacation with your boyfriend down in South America, enjoying the warm weather. But I've heard a rumor from you that you're going to be coming back to New Hampshire within about a month. What's your ETA? What's your plan?
Yeah, I'm looking at arriving in Portsmouth, New Hampshire to make my new home. Looking forward to rejoining the Porcupines in the Free State Project. Like I said, I really believe it is the best shot at freedom that the world has got right now, and I definitely believe that for myself. So I will be moving there. I'm looking at early April, late March to return.
Super
and
exciting.
I have been on Cop Block Radio, so people can check it out Wednesday nights. Now that Dio is in jail, people who listen to the show know why that is, but I am back on Cop Block Radio for the next few weeks.
Derrick, we'll look forward to having you back in our studio at some point, which I know will be an inevitability because it's awesome having you here. So thanks for calling in tonight. I appreciate hearing from you.
Thanks, guys.
Let's get to Hank here real quick in Tampa Bay. Hank, you're on Free Talk Live with Garret Ian from freeconcord.org.
Yes. My comment about this whole thing is this. If I were a reporter or a journalist and I attend an interview and I'm told this is to be off the record or there's to be no recording, if I record that and then I post that somewhere, that is the betrayal of trust. That is saying that this person is not trustworthy because they did something when they were asked not to do it.
That would be true. That is a true statement,
line.
but that's not what happened in this situation. This was not a confidential.
I agreed. I didn't agree to anything.
Right. This was not a confidential discussion.
Well, it has nothing to do with what you agreed to. It's somebody asking you not to do something.
He didn't agree to that. He wasn't asked to not do something. They simply requested that the entire room stop recording. That was not an agreement. There was nothing explicit. There was nothing in the contract or the ticketing or anything like that. Garret, it's been great having you on. Folks can follow you at freeconcord.org. That's your main blog, but a lot of that content is also posted. And thank you for continuing to post at freekeene.com. Always appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Garret Ian there, and we'll see you tomorrow night online in the meantime at freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
Cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer tech developments happen fast. Stay in the loop with the Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance, security, networking, transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud and be an early adopter of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm. The Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM presents the latest episode of The Voluntary Life. Download it and listen to more at thevoluntarylife.com.
You're listening to The Voluntary Life, where you can hear ideas for finding freedom in an unfree world. Visit thevoluntarylife.com to connect with the show and hear all past episodes.